Hi, guys. If you didn't know, I was on a podcast tier list collaborative stream alongside I Win to Lose Gaming, MTashed, and I Am Rivenous. Thank you to I Win to Lose Gaming for hosting the event. I appreciate it so much. Great guy. And all of these content creators have plenty of credentials and have a lot that they provided to the tier list stream that I'm about to show. But I wanted to give a bit of context. We are operating under the whole things are subject to change. And I also did not manage to capture some of the initial parts where they do the introductions. Other than that, though, everything should be fine and everything should be lined up. If there's a couple things that are synced out of whack, I apologize. But thank you again for everyone that supported, that watched. And yeah, also, before we get into the video, the giveaway is going to be ending in about 3 hours or about like an hour or so from when I'm announcing or when I guess I'm posting this. Thank you again for everyone that has been joining and has been showing so much love to me, especially in the DMs and stuff like that. I appreciate it a lot. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Let's get into it.
Um, so at this point, this tier list is as much, my tier list as it is like your guys's. So how do you guys want to approach this? You guys want to react to the Pride Win one first, or you guys want to just start building it? What do you guys think?
I think it would be interesting. Yeah.
No, you go first. You go first.
I think it would be interesting to just go through all of the characters and also have a look at their weapons to just see how viable they are, because in the end, if you gain like 50% more damage because they have a signature weapon, I think for most players that's just not gonna be much realistic.
Okay.
The thing I'm noticing with the game, at least from all the weapons that I've looked at, is it's feeling a little bit more like TGR, where it's like you get the character and you get their weapon. And, some of the weapons will work on everyone, but I'm finding a lot of like the 4-star weapons and stuff in the game. We don't have a rust, which is just this crazy normal attack damage 4-star. We don't have the stringless. I'm not seeing as many crazy passives in this game. They're very basic passive. So I'm kind of in the feeling of a lot of the limited units with their limited weapons are just going to flat out be better until the limited weapons come out that will synergize with the standard banner character or other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I somewhat agree. My main problem is that on many characters, anything which is 4-star except for like Verina seems just pretty trash. So
yeah,
just looking at Rover, for example, if we just compare like their next best 5-star weapon, it's 20% better than the 4-star option. Just straight up a 20% difference.
Yeah, and the refinements on the weapons, like it's not like Genshin where you get like 10% more damage or something. It's like 4%. So
yeah,
getting like an R5 stringless in Genshin, like it's completely different than getting an R5, I don't know, pistol 26 or whatever the heck it's called, in WutheringWaves, right? So the 4-star weapons really can't carry you very hard in this game, which is why I think like a big pivotal moment is definitely the 5-star selector weapon that you end up choosing, right? Like, because that's going to define a lot of the power level in your account.
And I think there's a lot of people that are also looking at, I think even just like eye candy or kind of eye test. If you look at some of the 5 stars, like I think the second that some people see DPS character or they're trying to build Rover, they're trying to build Jiyan, whoever it is, and they see like the main stat of a weapon being crit rate or something, and then comparing it all to the other ones, like you have attack percent. I think just in general, if you see crit in any way, like, and especially because like the ecosystem in this game kind of it doesn't necessarily limit you, but you have like technically like a different kind of way of obtaining stats in this game. Having like this immediate like burst of like 5% crit, I think is going to be something that a lot of people value, and they're probably going to, if I had to guess, I think a lot of people will probably just choose their main DPS early. They're like, oh, I like Calcharo, or oh, I really want to pull for Jiyan, and then like, okay, what's the weapon with crit on it? And if that's going to be their main DPS, that's like what they fixate on. So I don't know how like exactly that'll like pan out, but like to your guys' points, I think that like the 4-star weapons, like if I'm not mistaken, like all of them are either ER or attack percent or something that feels a little bit worse than just, oh wow, 5% more crit.
I mean, I honestly think that any like the next pistol or sword character that comes out instantly is probably higher tier because you could use the selector to get the crit rate pistol or the crit rate sword. And that it's just such a big gap that I'm guessing and any new character that comes out, even if you don't get their limited weapon, has potential higher ratings just because of the selector. So that's kind of what I think I'm gonna do is like save up for whoever that ends up being, whether it's pistol or sword, and see who's coming next.
I'm actually
Yeah, it's crazy, yeah.
actually looking at that from a little bit of a different perspective, because right now we only have signature weapons for broke blades and for the rectifiers. However, at least for those, they are the best in slot on every single character. So if the next character will be a sword character, which will get a signature weapon, which possibly is also the best in slot for all the other characters, we have like a signature weapon which now is best in slot for 5 different sword users. 4 of
That's
them
very fair.
are free.
Yeah.
So I think actually that the weapon banners in itself in this game are way more valuable than, for example, in Genshin or whatever.
Mhm.
I mean, we also have the
Yeah.
guarantee, to be fair, but that doesn't mean shit if we don't, if we get half of the currency per patch, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. The selector also, you can only pick one, right? And
Yeah.
it'd be
True.
kind of funny if like when you pick something, right? If you end up being like a sword main account because you pick the 5-star sword, right? Because I mean it could actually end up going some comical route like that, but it's hard to say in the long run like what we end up getting in terms
Yeah.
of like future 5-star weapons or 4-star weapons. Maybe they'll have event ones too. I don't know.
It's funny you bring that up too, because one of my nightmares, and I'm sure like, well, I don't know how common it is, so much so in Hoyo games, but in like some of the gacha games that I play, you'll like spend all your time trying to like pity a character, or even for like the star rail. I don't know if you guys did like the 300, like the 300 beginner or like standard banner pity. I like waited all this time to, I think I was trying to get like Clara or someone from the 300, and then instantly the next day I rolled Clara, and I'm like, I want to die. Like this is the worst feeling of all time, and I'm hoping like to like your point for this game, especially because of how important the weapons are, that I don't get something like I get like, oh, I want to be a sword main, and then I just get only like pistol 5 stars or like rectifier 5 stars. Like that, like I'm really, really hoping, because I'm definitely planning on doing something a bit more free to play, that that's not the case. But like I can feel it in my bones, and I'm already like coping and coming up with like coping mechanisms to say like, no, like actually guys, like Chixia or like whatever character I wanted to play, Lingyang, like I always loved them. Like I was always destined to be their one true like main pairing. Like, oh god, man.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Okay, let's try to actually rate a couple characters, and I'm gonna choose the first one. Let's just get it out of the way. We can put Verina in the S tier. Does anyone disagree with this?
Whoa. Let's calm it
Hey.
down there with the hot take
All
here,
right.
Mr.
Sorry, man.
Whoa.
Okay, well we'll move her down where she
All right.
belongs.
I have a hot take here. I think Verina is not S tier. I think we
Oh?
actually need a separate tier
Hang
for
on.
her, which would be like S+, and there is a very simple reason for that.
Okay.
So
okay.
Verina is incredibly easy to build. The only thing you need on her is
Yes.
ER and a 4-star weapon. And
Yep.
she will
The
be
Concerto one.
yes, the variation.
Where is it?
Variation. The bottom, yes, that one.
Oh, there it is.
So
Right here. Yep.
This thing literally just allows Verina to have a very, very simple rotation. And I mean, the thing is, we have a selector, so it's not like she's impossible to obtain. You literally can just select her. And I personally think that is something which also sets her even more apart from the other 5 stars, because all the other 5 stars kind of want a 5-star weapon. She is happy with a 4-star weapon at R1. And the only thing you need is energy dragon. And that's like literally all.
Yeah. So I wanted to add on to this. In terms of Verina being power crept, right? This game actually does not have any dedicated supports yet. So Verina is like a healer plus support character, right? I think half of her kit is basically healing. So we don't even know what support characters are going to be like in this game. But with that being said, someone will have to get 3 new supports that are better than Verina to completely squeeze her out.
While
Right?
also doing the same thing.
Exactly. And that's going to take a long time, you know?
It's like Sparkle came out and she's cracked in Honkai Star Rail,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean Bronya is bad. Like Bronya is
Mhm.
insanely good. I think it's a very similar situation. It's going to be potentially a year, maybe even 2 years before they completely squeeze her out. But you need 3 teams. Like she is going to be
Yep.
good. She's universally valuable, and you know, early on, like they actually changed Verina. She was not this good initially, and I don't remember if it was CBT 1 or 2. They finally made some changes to her, but she is cracked.
She is. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
reasonably low field time, quick outro with this weapon. Like, do you even have to level her up? Like, barely, right?
Technically seen, you can leave her completely at level 1. None
You
of her
just don't
buff
want.
scale at all.
Right, right. Just maybe enough to not get one shot, and that's pretty much it.
You have her passive if she gets one shot. She's fine.
Hey!
She's back. She's back. Just don't get hit with anyone else.
Exactly. No, but in all, like, this is kind of an issue I had with healers in this game. Because you only have 3 minutes to 3-star a tower floor, right? Which is the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal of the end game is to 3-star every floor in the tower. Because you only have 3 minutes, and this isn't like Genshin where you have to do continuous chambers, right? Where damage from the previous chamber carries on to the next one. So really, if your characters don't just all die in 3 minutes, which if you're getting hit that much, it's probably hard. Is it 2 minutes? I thought it was 3. But however much time you have, right? It's not that long of a time for you to not die. So to me, the healing aspect of this game is a bit iffy because the other gameplay mode, hologram, you literally just get one shot by everything. So who cares, right?
Yeah.
So the healing in tower, I never found myself using the healers to heal. I only found myself using them to buff.
Which makes
Yes.
sense. You almost want to just jump in and it's like, oh, I took damage early, restart.
Exactly.
I absolutely agree. It's like play optimal, get that proper time, focus on DS.
Yes.
That's why people are doing like solo Danjin, stuff like that, or they were.
Mhm.
It absolutely makes sense. So the fact that she's got that concerto skill with variation, and all you just got to do is tap E, get that energy, and then swap, and now your next character's buffed. It's so valuable because you don't have to be sitting there healing anyways, and she's still bringing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So we got
Right.
the most controversial character out of the way. We did it, guys.
I kind of wanna take this a little bit further, and kind of
Okay.
talk about Taoqi, Baizhi, and yeah, just those two, I guess, at the same time a little bit, because again, we need kind of 3 teams, which also means we need 3 supports. But those are the only 3 supports we have, which can realistically trigger the rejuvenating glow set, in theory at least.
Oh yeah, yeah. The glow set, is that on Pride Win?
So there is one thing. The problem is that the originite weapons exist, and as somebody in my chat pointed out very correctly, the thing is you don't want Verina because she heals. You want her because she provides buffs.
Yes.
So, and Taoqi, I mean, she is honestly a skill issue fixer. She kind of prevents you from dying, from being one shot. And you have Baizhi, who can trigger the set. And so the problem with Baizhi is she has kind of the same passive as Verina. The problem we have there is a little bit that it will only affect the next unit, and that is really hard to do in actual gameplay.
Yeah, and it removes one of the strongest aspects of certain characters, which is the ability to just keep swapping on and off and spamming
Yeah.
stuff, right? So that's going to be like a key thing that sets a lot of characters apart from others, is that ability. Okay, so I guess we can move on to the next. We've done one character in 20 minutes, so
Perfect.
we're on track to finishing this before the game releases. So let's see.
Uh, oh damn.
All right, let's do Rover next. We down for Rover?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Down for
Yeah.
Rover.
Okay.
I rate Rover. I think Rover is cracked. Just like overall utility and the fact that you get the copies for free. Can heal, can do damage. They might get outscaled, but for any free to play player, I would recommend they build. Like I think at the start of the game, I'm running Rover, Yangyang, Baizhi, free to play God team, and just taking them as high as I possibly. Like they have it in a tier 1 or A tier, and I don't know if that's based on damage, but if I'm looking just like overall value, pick them up, put them on your account, play, I think it's S-. But I'm also dumb, so who knows?
Dude, I'll double down for you, MTash. I'm not gonna lie. It's the first character that you get. Like you have to like invest a little bit into this character, like no matter what, right? And if, as you say, you're like a free to play character now, or a free to play player, I should say, depending on like what kind of character you're looking to get or you're rolling for or whatever. How is this not like in terms of ease of play? Like they're very simple to play. Like they have a very impactful kit they had the time. So how is this not actually like low key an S tier character? Like it's you have to invest in the character, right? Like you have to play them a little bit. And if you do end up investing them, I feel like a lot of people are saying like they're not a bad character to invest in. And then okay, yeah, they'll probably get power crept or you know, there may be like a different form of it. But this is like a character that there is so much value to investing in, and it's the main character. You know what I mean? They don't look like they're not like a bad NPC bot looking NPC, you know, main character that we don't care about. They're boring. They're just cool. Like they do a lot of damage. They do their job. They do their role well. And I mean, they're not even just a DPS too. They're a utility, which is very high impact. And of course, you know, you can argue that depending on what kind of passes or utility you want, maybe someone, and I won't get too far into it, but like someone like Yangyang's utility is also nice. But I still think that like time stop, like the outro effect, like just in general, how easy it is to pick up and play this character, I think puts them. Okay, maybe not actually S, but I would definitely say it's not like a hot take to put them in the S minus tier over A.
Agreed. You can also, if you invest in them and they do bring out the other elements and they're better, you've already invested in the character. And the other thing that I don't think has been talked about is even the ascensions for the characters, much like Genshin, are free. You don't have to use energy or wave plates on them. So for me, like it's going to be a no-brainer build, and I just think people need to understand that the MC in this game is good. At least in my opinion, I'm going to be maining that character, and damage wise, the actual mathematics, maybe they're 8. Maybe they're not the absolute best, but I think value should matter in tier list, and I think they've got a lot of impact.
Yeah, I agree as well. However, I would currently put them into A tier probably. However, looking a little bit into the future, when we will get an Spectro DPS, she will rise to S minus. At least
I was thinking the exact same thing with Rivenus.
So the thing is, first of all, her sequence 4 allows her to heal, which means she can be used to trigger, for example, the rejuvenating glow set. And her S6 allows her to shred Spectra resistance, which means she can function effectively somewhat as a Spectra support as well, while still dealing damage and having a relatively low heal time. So you can use her right now as a main or hybrid character, main DPS or hybrid character, and in the future you can even relegate her. So basically she needs to be replaced 9 times until she would not be usable anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Right now she doesn't have a complementary Spectro DPS character, right?
Yep.
And like Rivenus said, right? She is, in a sense, has a future team slot for her. And the fact that she's already competitive with the other 4 stars in terms of just rough damage output, and and the fact that like I think all these values, I personally would put her in the S minus because I do feel like she's a good investment for the future. And the fact that we've already seen people clear a lot of the stuff in tower with Rover. And beat a lot of the holograms and stuff like that with Rover. So should be should be pretty easy to recommend building her. I can also say when the game starts, I'm going to be building her too, right? So yeah. Okay. Are
Not
we
20
happy?
minutes? Let's
No,
go.
no. Record time. We're speedrunning. We're speedrunning this tier list now. Yeah. So we're happy with Rover and S minus, right? Any nays?
I'm
I mean,
down.
I would
love it.
put her in A right now, but it's fine. We can leave her as
Okay.
minus. If we look into the future, it's fine.
Okay, so I guess we mostly agree. I'd give that as another success. Okay, next one. We have Yangyang. Let's talk about her.
I'm gonna get canceled for this one.
All right,
I think-
MTash.
I think she's cracked. She
Okay.
is an energy funneler with her outro skill. She can group enemies, and again, I personally am planning to play her, kind of like you guys are saying about Verina, is using the energy regeneration sword, the Concerto sword. I can't remember what the exact name is, but I just want to funnel as much energy into her as I can to group up enemies and then pop them with my Rover, who's getting ultimate energy from Yangyang's passive, her outro skill. And then I don't know. I feel like I've already got one copy of her. I'll eventually get more. She's just gonna get better over time. I think she's like, I don't know. I think she's unique enough with the energy funneling that she'd be S minus, but at least A tier. I don't know why they're putting her in B tier
Wait, there's people that think that this character is B tier.
or tier
Yeah.
2.
Yes.
So,
Pride win.
Really?
yeah.
I have
right here.
Oh, that is there. Oh my god, wait, I completely wait,
I
that's
have discussed.
crazy.
Yeah, I totally agree. I would also right now I would actually put her into S minus as well because she has a very specific niche which literally nobody else can fulfill, and that is ER funneling.
Yes, I was
How-
right.
Ever the moment any other character comes out or a weapon which can take that, I think B is a very solid place as well. And the problem she has is a little bit you cannot really use her as a hybrid character because her utility and damage just isn't enough of what she provides. So you kind of have to relegate her to the support role, which means you have to run without a healer, which means you have to run her with the Originite weapon to trigger the rejuvenating set, which also means you will not deal any damage anymore.
That's.
Mhm.
I mean, you don't have to run her with the Originite, right? Like you can skip out on the 15% attack, in my opinion.
I think it's too valuable because it's for the entire team. And if you look, for example, so I mean, again, this is just calculation based, but for example, Mortefi, if you would take a Jiyan, Mortefi, Yangyang team and you basically just funnel the energy from Yangyang into Jiyan, Mortefi by itself will, like, so from all the buffs, which, for example, Verina would provide, Mortefi actually gets up to, I think it was 23k damage. So basically main DPS damage. And Yangyang, if you play Yangyang, you lose out on all of that. So you kinda want to have her at like S6 on top of having that rejuvenating set so she can somewhat compete with that. Otherwise, there's no reason to play her. Would lose out on like 10k damage per second.
Okay.
What about the Moonlit set with just like the
Yeah, the Moonlit is
because
the
you're using your outro,
Yeah.
right? That you're getting your energy. You're
That's what-
using
yeah.
that sword, and then you use your outro skill, and then boom, there's a there's
yeah,
a
but then you
there.
have to play her instead of Mortefi.
No, but
Well-
I mean, we need 3 teams. That's what I'm
Mhm.
saying is like
Okay,
until
but
we have multiple units replacing. I don't know.
okay, so I will show a little bit something on stream right now. Please keep in mind this is not final and all of this. So let's share my screen as well for a second.
You can, yeah. Let me see if I can arrange that. We can both stream on Discord, and then I can watch yours. That's how it works.
So
Okay, and then I can do a pop out, and then okay, there we go.
So this
Hey.
is not final. That is very important to understand. Things will change. This entire sheet changes literally 10 times per second, you know?
Can you zoom in a bit?
Oh yeah, I can.
There we go. Yeah, this
So,
way.
I have to delete
my,
the sheet
chat
again
can
afterwards because otherwise people just will take the URL again. I mean, it's
Uh,
privated, but
Yeah.
so literally no other character needs as much as ER as Jiyan as a DPS
Yes.
character, which also means there is no other character, like main DPS character currently, who actually would benefit from Yangyang being played in the slot of the hybrid. So for example, if we just take here Jiyan with Mortefi and Verina, he would need around 45% energy if you play it in this team. If you take Yangyang, he goes down to 15%.
Wow, holy moly.
But that's like the only character it's worth it. For example, if you take Danjin, you would be at minus 30%. Like,
do Chixia there.
You know, there is literally no other character out here who benefits as much from playing her in that slot. And the more,
just to clarify, you're saying that obviously the ER is good, but there's not enough units that even benefit. It's almost overkill energy regeneration.
Yeah, basically. And the problem is, if you would play her with the Moonlit set, that is, you know, that works really well. And especially in the beginning, I think that's probably her best role, especially like, you know, have it her in the hybrid. For example, you take Rover. Let's say, for example, Rover in this team would need like 20% ER if you now would play Yangyang over, sorry. If you would do it like this, you know, there's a lot of ER needed for this team. The problem is mainly if you play Yangyang right here, for example, instead of Mortefi, you would lose out on way too much damage. Also, please keep in mind, this does not actually account for Yangyang funnel currently in the hybrid slot.
Well, what this also means is that you can put Verina on the other teams.
Yeah, basically.
True.
I mean, sure, there are many benefits to that. The problem, it's so hard. The problem is we currently only have one really good team, like one team which really stands out above all others.
Yeah.
And that's Jiyan, Mortefi, and Verina. And if you take Verina out of there, she will lose, like Jiyan will lose like straight up 50% damage. Just Verina,
50%.
just Verina gives him such an insane amount of damage. It's not even fun. Like, it's not close. And no other.
50% sounds like a lot, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're
like,
not even gonna have Yinlin for a long time too, right? Wow. So after your first team, we really are like in the support role. We are just begging. We are just clawing for a character that is literally Verina light. But
yeah, it's really difficult. So, for example, let's say we would use Baizhi. I haven't made Baizhi here. But the problem, for example, with Baizhi would be that she only buffs the next character coming in. So what you would need to do is you would need to do Baizhi into Jiyan, into Mortefi, into Jiyan again. Of course,
or you could do Mortefi before all that.
So the problem is you want to use your ultimate with Mortefi before you go into Jiyan.
Well, you can get S4 on Mortefi.
Yeah, but you lose just so.
Wait a sec.
Or you can queue up most of Baiji's stuff, right? So that way she swaps on, ults, out, does a couple things to get her outro, and then goes to GN. So I mean, you have to plan ahead with the Concerto energy, though.
The problem is, Jiyan and Mortefi here, they need 20 seconds. Those two together.
Yeah. So if you do 8 seconds of Mortefi, so that way he doesn't have full Concerto. You do 8 seconds of Baizhi. And then you switch, you know, so this is where the game gets really complicated. And this is why it's such a sweat fest, right? And like I'm starting to sweat already just thinking about this. But basically you can adjust this where you have Mortefi do 8 seconds, so he has 80 out of 100 Concerto. Then you have Baizhi do 8 seconds, so she has 90 out of 100 Concerto. You ultimate with Mortefi, get on with Baizhi's ultimate, instantly get Concerto, wasted maybe 45 frames from Baizhi's ultimate, get her outro, switch on to GN, and then you're good to go, right?
Yeah.
So this is why I think, but see, like, look at how much I'm sweating over this, right? So this is kind of the way this game is in comparison, like in comparison to Genshin Impact. Oh man, I kind of miss those days of just, you know, 1Q, 2Q, 3Q, 4Q, we're done, right? But this, you know, you got, if you really want to min-max this stuff, like look at the stuff that we're going through. Right, look at the stuff we're going through. So, let me,
let's go into infinity.
Hang on, let me pop this back into Discord. Okay, we're back We're back to our tier list. Okay, so
So
you bring up some great points, Rivenus. Absolutely, you bring up some great points. And yeah, MTash, you're gonna say something?
I guess so. To summarize, Yangyang's energy funneling seems really good, but right now it only appears to work optimally on someone like, right. So that's kind of like the one argument.
And
So
Jiyan.
there's going to be some wasted energy. But again, kind of like what I Want to Lose is saying is like that's if we're playing spreadsheet waves and
Yeah.
optimal DPS rotation waves. And it's like there's going to be situations against Thundering Mephis where you're dodging for 12 seconds, or countering for 12 seconds, not generating energy, and it's like, oh well, now I can pop it on or whatever it might be. So, I'm kind of looking at it as a safe pick, a universally good thing that could help all units. It might not be the absolute optimal thing, but I don't know. I'm viewing it as something that's like I can throw Yangyang in, I can build her, and I think 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be really happy with that. But I do understand that like maybe on some teams it's not going to be optimal or essentially overkill. But the other thing too is, you kind of said yourself is some characters need energy recharge to function. They need to have their ultimate or their concerto energy or whatever it is, or they don't have any value. Well, we're not going to have echoes with proper substats for a while, weeks, potentially months, to absolutely make sure we can hit those numbers. So I love having Yangyang as someone that can supplement those things for some of my DPS units that just don't have the ER they need or whatever it might be. So that's kind of why I'm rating her high. I think she's going to be pretty safe. I like the grouping ability for certain content, but she might fall off for sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I actually want to say that she can group too.
Yeah. Like I feel like beyond all of the like the min maxing we're talking about, I know we have like a big focus right now on building 3 teams, but like if you are going to invest in this character or invest in any character in the game, like depending on what content you're fixating on, I mean, if you're only fighting AoE mobs, like certain characters will rise or fall in popularity or in like, in priority. But I mean, like Yangyang in most cases, as you guys described, is not just like an energy funnel, which in like you said, can be sometimes in excess or kind of just like a, oh well, I built her anyways, might as well have energy. But yeah, like even ease of play, like grouping up mobs, like I'm gonna be honest with you, especially with how jumpy the camera feels sometimes. Like I
God.
just want everything in front of me. Like that's just it. If I like one shot everything all in one go, that's value to me. It doesn't have to be, necessarily the most like min-max value, but like if let's say I'm doing my dailies and I have to like clear out mobs or something, I'm just like half asleep at like the wheel. I'm not, I'm not making sure I'm like hitting certain timings of like my rotation. And not to say that the rotations aren't important, but I think S minus is pretty fair. I would say. I think B is. I don't know how, like, to bring it back to the Pride Room tier list. I'm not quite sure how we got there. Maybe they're coming from it at the same angle as Riv, where it feels like it's a bit of an excess. But I'm really surprised. She's like one of the first characters you get too, right?
I can
I guess
expand on that a little bit without saying too much. So the problem is Pritrin bases their entire tier. Well, it's not a problem. I mean, that's kind of what we have to do. They base their entire tier list on the Tower of Adversity, and I think for the early tower, Yangyang is a great investment because we actually do have groups which we need to group. However, the later stages are just hologram bosses. There is no value to the grouping anymore, and given that we don't really have many teams where it would be worth playing her without losing too much DPS, because we could just play Verina instead, for example. I think if there would be some content coming afterwards where we have to defeat like waves of enemies, for example, and we need a lot of grouping, I think she also would rise in value. Same for Jianxin.
Well, okay. So I've been thinking about. I actually wish I had looked at all the enemy layouts in the Tower Adversity, but I was thinking about this. I think there is 10 stamina worth of trash to group to help you 3-star a lot of the things in Tower. Like, for example, in Tower 2-2, right, which is the one where you fight, I think, the bird. There's 2 waves, and the first wave has a bunch of garbage, right? So even in Tower 2-2, which is mainly a boss fight, after you kill the garbage, it's just the boss. But you still have to kill the garbage. And if a character that can group it and you can one-shot that wave in like less than 30 seconds compared to maybe a minute and a half chasing everything around, that's value. And my personal theory about this is because Tower is divided 4-4, right? There's a total of 10 stages as well as the stamina distribution. I really, really doubt that we're ever going to have a time, at least for a long time. Like this could happen to Venti, right? She could get Venti'd, but if for a long time, some of these chambers will have trash that you can suck up and then you can, get out of there, right? So that's my personal guess in terms of how the meta goes. Okay. And so, yeah, we have M-Tashed and we have Kana wanting her to be an S-.
Yeah, for
right?
now I would agree with that.
Oh, we have Rivenus also, I guess,
Oh,
agreeing with
what?
S-. Okay. And one more thing about Yangyang, you don't even have to build her that much, right? Like she can still do most of her utility without needing to be tremendously invested into.
I just think it's like if we're starting this game and people are looking at this tier list, if they picked Yangyang and they built her, are they going to come out and be like, "I made a mistake"? I don't think
No.
so. I
Yeah.
don't think so. And maybe it's like 5 months later they're like, "Oh, she wasn't optimal," but I don't know. Even for mobile players, like the grouping, the energy, the fact that hey, I can swap to my other unit and they've just got their ultimate. Yeah, it might be 2 seconds sooner or whatever, but just having that energy funneling in, I love the feel of that. So yeah, I'm cool with S-. If she's at the top of A, I get it.
Yeah,
I understand maybe she
yeah.
falls off, but
Okay, so here's my thought about it. Well, first of all, Yangyang's vacuuming potential is not nearly as good as like Venti's or even Jianxin's,
mhm.
right? And how about we compromise? We put her in the top of A for now, and we
Yeah.
can revisit later if we feel like the other characters around her, like if she sticks out, right? If she sticks out, as
Sure.
in like
Sounds
she's
good.
not good enough. Okay, all right. Let's do the next character, my girl, Chixia. I like her a lot. Let me pull this up for you guys.
Yeah, just S tier buff Verina I think is fine. Fair placement.
This here, right? She has finger guns. See that?
Right.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe S plus.
Yeah, that's OP. That's OP.
Finger guns. All right, guys. We're done with this tier list. We don't need to talk about her. She's got finger guns. I
So-
wonder if they forgot the animation.
Probably.
Did they forget to put the guns there?
Okay, so Chixia, in my opinion, is technically a very solid DPS. The only problem she has is all of her damage is in her forte. If you get interrupted during your turbo bullet thing or before you do your pow pow, she loses like 80%.
Yep. That is a big issue. And okay, so I have a hot take about Chixia.
Oh, do
She
you?
has-
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I mean more than just the finger bullets, right? Like because that's the hottest take so far. But
Mhm.
she has something that I think is very valuable that hasn't really been talked about enough. She has a 0 frame ultimate. Okay, so what this means is that in Tower of Adversity, there's a timer, and the timer ticks down, and it freezes when you do a character's ultimate. Now, a character like Rover, she has roughly, I think, a 0.8 second ultimate. So that means that the timer will freeze, Rover will do her animation, and then 0.8 seconds will pass, and Rover will not be able to do anything. Chixia is one of the few characters, along with I'm sure some others, but she's one of the few that has a perfect 0 frame ultimate. So what this means is she does her entire ultimate, all the bells and whistles, all the attacks, all the hits in exactly 0 frames.
Okay.
Right? 0 frames pass on the timer, which gives you an extra 2 seconds, or however long it takes for other characters to get out of their ultimates to do stuff.
Okay,
So that is
counter
one
argument.
thing that I think is valuable. Yeah.
She has the second highest energy cost in the entire game.
Yes.
At
Yes,
150.
that's the problem.
That also means you have to. That also means you have to build a lot of ER around 40 to 50%. That is maybe where Yangyang actually comes in helpful.
Yes.
But that also means you don't fucking deal damage.
There's
So
yeah,
you maybe
there's many
save what?
issues with it.
It's fine. You save 0.8 seconds from the ultimate frames, but you lose like 15
Yes.
seconds because you don't do damage.
So there's another way to there's another mentality I have. Now, I don't think it's going to be meta yet, right? But Chixia can be a decent low field time DPS character when needed, right? So like let's say you already have your other 2 slots, you just swap her on every other rotation, do her ultimate, 1 forte and get the hell out, right? But I don't know. I mean, I know that's not optimal, but yeah, okay, I agree. She's not very good. She's not very good. We
Well,
can
I would say she's fun. Like she's definitely
Yeah.
fun, and kind of sustain damage if you like hyper invest into her. For sure, but again, it's like a lot of field time, and if you like the play style, but I'm not a huge fan of her. I don't see like I view her like kind of a main DPS, and that's kind of her main function. So
Okay.
if you like the play style, maybe you could support her properly or down the road. But I don't know, don't love her.
My opinion, B tier is quite fair for her, and I will give you another reason. The other reason is Mortefi. So the problem is
Mortefi exists.
yeah, basically the problem is we only have like 1 5-star pistol right now, and that is more or less the pistol which Mortefi wants. If Mortefi has that pistol, Chixia will not have that.
Yeah.
Unless you use them on
they
different
both want it.
chambers.
For what it's worth, I do think that again putting her in B, I think is also fair. Like this is an argument of her not being even lower. I think that like something that a lot of people will try out, and I think that they've found as well, playing optimally as opposed to like playing so that you don't have to break your wrist, I think is like a very viable strategy, as we've mentioned. And like, let's just be honest, guys. Like, if you're playing a ranged character, yeah, okay, maybe you lose out on like certain uptimes and stuff like that. But like, if a boss is flying around you, like, I'm not gonna lie, unless your name's Rexlent or something, man, like, I'm probably getting knocked over. Like, I'll be the one to say it. And not that I'm necessarily like the biggest Chixia or like like the biggest ranged advocate, but if you could just you know not get hit, survive a little bit longer. I think I've like seen people literally solo some of the bosses just with her alone, which of course is why I think most of the characters are viable. It's like what can I say? Like if I don't get hit, if I don't die, the character works out well. And again, you're right. I think in that sort of case, like you'd have to play her more like a main DPS, and the utility of things like plays a big part of it. But I also just think that people will see, oh my god, this is a pistol, like a shooting gun guy. I'm just gonna, like
Yeah. Yeah, she also has opportunities to actually do damage where the other characters can't. And that's one thing I noticed when I was using her was that, for example, when the big monkey is doing its pillar slam, everyone else is just looking at it like a bunch of idiots, right? But you know what Chixia does? She dodges each one and shoots it in the face and then does a few normals in between each shockwave that the big monkey does. And there's times with the Thundering Manifest where it does a teleportation attack, right? Every other melee character is yeeting the hell out of there and waiting for it to come down to do its burst, and then you can do a counterattack. But Chixia can shoot it for most of it and then end the whole thing with a forte. So the thing about her, your Rivenus is completely correct. She has the weakness of needing to, pew pew for literally 4 seconds, but at the same time, she has different windows of opportunities to actually do damage. So I think she's okay. But I do think B rank is fair. So we can probably just move on. Because yeah, she doesn't feel like, she definitely doesn't feel like S-, and she also doesn't feel like garbage, right?
I also wouldn't want to bait someone into building her over like Yangyang or something like that,
Yeah. That's a great point.
And 4 seconds on screen is just 4 more seconds of Chixia, you know what I mean? I'm gonna lose like
exactly.
That's not really an L. That's not really an L for me, bro. I don't know about you.
Yeah, you can't say no to 4 more seconds of this.
Of finger guns.
Yeah, finger bullets. All right. Okay, so B tier for now. Looks like we are in consensus with Pride win. So you guys want to do the 4-star characters, or we'll just kind of go down in order of this random ordered list?
I think we can.
Down.
Okay. Encore next. Anyone have any strong opinions of her? I personally agree with the tier 0.5 placement. Personally, I think she's a bit better than Rover as well. But what do you guys think?
Um, I think it's fair to put her here. I think she okay, part of me thinks that no matter what, just because of despite her like being a little bit harder to play and like not having as many options or like the same exact options as other characters, like I would want to like maybe drop her a little bit or dock her a little bit, but honestly like she does a lot of damage. If I'm not mistaken, like literally the second highest damage potential in the game. Um and even though you can't parry or the way that you parry is like a little specific or a bit more restrictive compared to the other characters, it does feel like, you know, in general, if you choose to play this character or if you decide to start the game and you decide that this is the character that you want, I know this is kind of a metric that we're using. Are you going to regret building Encore? The answer is probably not, or not any more so than any of the other DPS, right? Like, are you going to be upset when they release, you know, I don't know, Mommy Dami Waifu 3.0 that does 7 quintillion damage and blows every character off this list? Of course it's going to feel bad, right? But like that's the same case for I think every character in this game. And outside of I think that initial period where people are going to be like, "Oh my god, like Calcharo and Yinlin, like these two characters work so well together, they're electro." I think outside of that small breathing period where you're going to want to have someone that synergizes with Yinlin because you just pitied for Yinlin probably just like me. She's not going to feel bad I think to play. Like I think she's going to feel fine. She's maybe a little bit wonkier cuz she's ranged in some cases and again no parry, but assuming that you play, I think, just a little bit above the floor and you're not absolutely dying and in the trash can, I think she's definitely like an S minus candidate.
Okay.
She was my like first 5-star for the closed betas, and I built her up. There were situations where I was just nuking things. I absolutely see the damage potential, but yeah, the no counter thing. The further you get into the game, I feel like she starts to fall out of place a little bit. At the same time, she is a little bit of range, so maybe you're a little bit further from those hitboxes and can just dodge. So yeah, I guess maybe a bit of a skill tester. Do you like kiting them? I personally feel because of the lack of counter, she'll be better on like PC than on mobile. Because on
Mm.
mobile, I mean, I guess pressing the dash is the same as attack button to counter, but I don't know. I feel like PC players might be able to maximize Encore a little bit better than a mobile player long term. So I see the damage, but I'm not in love with her personally. I think just because of the lack of, you can counter in her ultimate though, right? Because she essentially becomes a melee unit. But I can't remember. I didn't really test a whole bunch of her fighting bosses enough to really know. But that's just my.
Right, then I will give you my take. I sent you a screenshot right now where I censored a little bit of Calcharo because those calculations are certainly wrong. You would bring that up?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Cool.
Let's see.
The
We got,
bottom one. So the thing is, there's a lot of misinformation going around about Encore. People say she's hard to play, and that is not the case.
this image, right?
Yes, this one. Encore
So
is probably
big.
one of the easiest characters to play. But lot of people. So the thing is, if you look at these videos about Encore, it's always like, oh, she can't parry. And yeah, that is true, she can't parry, but you will never be outside of her ultimate. She needs close to no energy regeneration, like 10%, which you will get by a single substat roll, to actually be able to go from her ultimate back to ultimate. Her skill generates a lot of energy, actually, and her damage is really good. Her damage is really, really good inside the ultimate, and you will basically never be outside her ultimate, which also means you basically don't have that dodge problem. You know, that the parry problem, I mean.
Yeah, so I also have a
However,
different. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
there's one
Keep
more
on going,
thing.
man.
Encore has a really big problem, and that problem is she doesn't scale with any supports. Her best support is Sanhua as of right now. And
Oh, really?
yeah, because like 50% of her entire damage is basic attack damage. So getting these 38% basic attack damage deepen from Sanhua is really, really good. plus Verina, but there are also other characters who want Verina, like literally everybody else the entire game.
Yep.
And the problem is if you pair Encore with her best supports, she gains about 50% total damage compared to Jiyan, who gains 80 to 90% damage. So the problem is if you just look at those numbers, if you have a String Master, first of all, you kind of want String Master. If you have String Master, she's somewhat even up with Lustrous Razor Jiyan, which is cool.
So you think she's going to be someone that maybe gets better with time, kind of thing, like more people that can support her, some weapon choices. Okay,
I think that is the first case. The second case, I mean, she will get better in that sense. However, she will also get worse because new supports will be released and other teams will get stronger. And if I have to build a full team around Jiyan, the Jiyan team will just completely outdamage Encore. Like Jiyan will be at like 55k DPS and Encore will be at 40%. 40% increase, so around 44k DPS. That's like 10k less, 25% less damage than Jiyan for the same investment.
To touch on the energy thing for a second, you said that she basically is never out of ultimate, right?
Yeah, so the idea is basically you are in your ultimate, then you cast her skill, you get like 15 energy back from double casting her skill, then you do 12 seconds on literally your support as well as your hybrid character, and then you come back for double casting skill and you have
Okay, yeah, so again, like that's totally fine. And I mean, I know that we were taking a look at Pridewin on the side or comparing it to Pridewin on the side, but this is I don't know if you guys have like experiences in any other gacha games, but especially like when I started Genshin, I missed my like favorite character at the time, which was Jean. So I was playing Hu Tao, and I think although like a lot of this like optimization sounds really cool, and don't get me wrong, like totally spot on, I also just had like resource sweats where I kind of didn't want to waste my ultimate, or I didn't want to use it. So then and don't get me wrong, I understand that like if you're trying to do max damage, you will use, or like you will go into your rotation, do like your ultimates and stuff. But if I'm like, let's say I'm in the overworld killing stuff, you can't guarantee, or I mean, it would be, I think, a little bit harder to time things like that, or if like, if the content doesn't line up perfectly. I feel like the 12-second thing might be where people are coming from in terms of Encore being more difficult to play, because it's like another thing you have to manage in your brain, right? Like whereas in some cases, some of the other DPS may not need that, but it was just something to consider. I think like what you said makes a lot of sense. I mean, if she literally has her ultimate pretty much every time that she has her any time that she gets her support to do damage, then like I'm fine where she is. Like I'm hands off. If you want to make her up or down because of it, I think that's fine. But
would you put MC above Encore of like who you should build first?
Like,
what do you guys think on that?
Well, you're probably going to get like 1 5-star character, right? And well, 2, I guess, if we assume everyone gets Verina. And if that 1 5-star is Encore, I mean, she's just going to blow stuff up for a very long time.
True.
And when you hyper invest, like she's a hyper carry, so you can just hyper invest into her and she'll demolish everything up until the super end game where Rivenus is talking about, where you start having full teams of 2 and 3 characters. Well, full team is not 2, but you guys get what I mean. Full team of 3 characters where she starts to fall off. And by then, right, we're talking, I think even for whales that max refresh, we're not going to have 3 full teams until 2 to 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say 2 to 3 months. So, I think half the people are going to quit by then. And at least for now, Encore is going to destroy everything. And I think that's good enough for her to be in the S- tier for a pre-launch video.
Yeah, I personally agree. Again, I just think Encore is really fucking easy to play. I don't know why. For example, I was watching Tectone today, and he said like she is very difficult to play. No, she's not. She will never be on the field outside her ultimate, and then you just press left click.
Sucks, man. Like that's
Whoa. Hey, nuke the VOD. Hey. I'm not gonna.
Oh man.
Where's the?
I'll say it. I'll come out and say it. I'll come out swinging. I don't care.
Oh, good times. All right, so Encore S-. I'm happy with that. If you guys are fine, we can move on. And I think it's great to hear for the people that care about like the super long-term perspective where Rivenus is talking about, right? It's very valuable insight as well. And for the rest of us that want to play this game at least for a few months, I think we're gonna have a good time blowing stuff up. So
Wait,
we got
are you
Calcharo next.
Are you
Yeah.
saying you play for fun?
No, don't be ridiculous.
Okay,
Why?
good.
I play spreadsheet impact. It's about as fun as
Good.
it sounds.
Perfect. That's all what we need.
Yeah. Okay, Calcharo next. The next featured 5-star character. I mean, I think we can just keep this simple. I feel like I agree with Pridewind's placement for these two characters personally. Do any of you guys have any opinions, stronger opinions on this?
He's good unit.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Good unit. I personally love to play, and with Yinlin coming, to the game, that is, I see him just getting better and having a great option to support him. So I don't understand how he would be below that minimum. And then if you have Yinlin, maybe he is in the S tier now because you've got both together. But
yeah, the only question is, does he go up? I think without Yinlin, I would still keep him here, but there is an argument with Yinlin he could be in the S tier, right?
Okay, so I have very strong opinions about Calcharo. No, I will not pull out the Calcharo sheet. So Calcharo has by far the highest DPS in the game. Could even be above Jiyan. However, he is very skill capped and he is very reliant on Yinlin. Which means for the first 3 weeks, I have no idea who you would play him with. Like Yuanwu maybe.
Just solo, man.
Yeah, but the problem is Calcharo heavily relies on swap cancels. I actually sent you a Billy link.
Yes.
Maybe
no,
you want...
I've seen it.
Yeah, maybe
that is a crazy video, by the way.
Maybe you viewers have not seen that. So I would recommend you to show that so people actually have an idea of what you kind of...
Yeah, Billy plays like a butt on my thing, but let's see.
Oh, okay.
I can try.
While he's opening it up, actually, just to be clear, we haven't mentioned it. Tower of Adversity, you can swap your gear mid-round, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, technically speaking, you might not. Well, is that not confirmed?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Oh. Okay, you're not sure. All right.
I heard as well that you can swap.
Yeah, I was just gonna say because maybe you don't quite need as much investment. Because you could, well, presumably if the insinuation is that if you could swap your gear around, couldn't you just have like one set of 3 and then just, well, I mean, technically like one set of 9 and then like forever and ever, like you just swap between like the characters that you need or swap the gear out, or maybe like 6.
Yeah,
maybe?
so I guess since we don't really have the details of gear swapping fully locked down, I guess we can just talk more about Calcharo instead.
Yeah,
so
I
this clip, just to give you guys a brief explanation, ask me to log in now and it doesn't play. Okay, anyway, it's basically Calcharo has like a 2.2 second like nuke that he does, and during that time, you pretty much have to start sweating and switch off to do something else, or else, well, you can just admire him for 2 seconds, or you can do something useful with another character. In this case, you can swap off to Yinlin, do her stuff, which also take a long time. So characters with long animations are just swapping back and forth between each other, doing these long animations, because that's kind of one of the biggest differences with this game.
Yeah.
Right.
So because somebody in my chat asked to just explain very roughly in noob language what exactly is happening here. So the way how Calcharo works is basically during his ultimate stance, you will basically always be in his ultimate even without much energy regeneration. This guy has like 7%. But basically every 5 attacks you do, you can cast his heavy attack, which is like 60% of his entire damage. This heavy attack takes, I think it was 2 to 2 seconds to actually cast. However, you can swap cancel that, which means the moment you cast it, you switch out. And you can do something else with your other character, which basically means you have to play 2 characters at the same time. And this guy in this Billy video is switch canceling every single animation possible from both Yinlin as well as Calcharo. And because we have to, when we do TC stuff or our calculation sheets, we have to base it on the same baseline, which is the maximum highest potential somebody could do. Which means Calcharo is really good on paper because we just expect you to literally switch cancel everything. if you are not able to play literally 2 characters at once, which to be honest, 95% of all people will not be able to do that. This character loses massively in value, at least DPS wise, and that is the only reason why he is an S- and not S tier because of that. He is still a very good character, even if you don't switch cancel everything, but he is probably the most high skill capped champion. No, the high skill capped, I play too much League. The most he has the highest skill ceiling out of all characters currently. And he also needs Yinlin to be able to abuse this correctly, because Yinlin works very well with this web canceling stuff as well.
Yeah, because she has
Would you
long
say, though-
animations too, right? So
Would you say someone that's like eating glue and like not great at the game is still getting S- damage though?
Yeah,
Like,
I think
like
that's
you're not talking. It's still good. Okay, that's fair.
I think if you are really, really slow or playing on mobile, I mean, I personally, I can't even play Genshin on mobile. I wouldn't know how to play this on mobile. There's like no freaking way. I think S- is a fair tier. He has definitely the highest potential.
okay, all right. So no one disagrees. I mean, that's almost an argument for him to be in that. Well, actually, we literally just mentioned it at the beginning with Yinlin and animation cancels. And if you're sweaty, he could go in S tier. But I think otherwise, this is reasonable to me. Okay, we can move on. So far we've kind of just settled. We've been okay.
One more thing, just to reiterate on that. He needs Yinlin. Without Yinlin for the next 3 weeks, I don't know who to play him with. He doesn't have another good support.
Next 3 weeks, we're picking mints and punching rocks. Okay.
Wrong game. Wrong game.
Whoa.
No. There's knock to mints in this game. Okay. All right. We're focusing. we're farming onions. All right. What is this tower that you're talking about?
True.
All right. Okay. Next character. Jianxin is her name, right? Yeah. Okay. I still need to remember all the names of the characters. So, okay, I have a hot take on this. I think she's an A tier character. Okay, and I guess I'll go first. This is because, again, I think there will always be 10 stamina worth of trash to clean in the tower. And for her, slap on energy recharge, and you just press Q and let everyone else do the work, right? I guess, she would like her forte and stuff for outro, but, whatever. And I think she has some really cool synergy with Yinlin for clearing trash too, because Yinlin's thing, hits every enemy on the field. So with her massive AoE, she's going to clean up trash like no other. She's going to be the best janitor in this game that you've ever seen. So that's why I personally feel like she's an A tier character. But what do you guys think?
I played a bit of her because she was my second character that I got, and she didn't feel like my favorite thing ever, but playstyle was relatively fun, so I rate her playstyle cool. The shielding potential, the grouping potential. Her DPS numbers, maybe they aren't the best, but I think she is like someone. If you built her, I don't think you're gonna like regret it or hate it.
Oh, let's be clear. I don't think anyone's regretting building this character.
Yeah,
If
no, I don't think anyone's. Yeah, for sure.
You know what
I'm
I mean?
not putting her on my selector personally, but if I got her early from the first polls, I think I'd use her, I'd build her, and I'd take her to the end game and never look back. But I just don't think she shines. I feel like she will be one of the people that ends up getting power crept overall.
Wait, so to be clear, did you say so? I personally wasn't able to get this character or try this character as much. Did you say how did you say she felt kind of clunky, or did you say she felt slower?
No. I thought she felt fun. Like I think she's fun to
okay.
play. She's got like these punches and shields and kind of counterplay. Kind of like I guess like some Beto vibes. I think she's just overall like pretty good. It just didn't stand out as powerful. Like I could tell right away with Encore, I'm doing more damage when I was using her. Sort of that vibe is like I know she's good. I can see a lot of the potential. I just don't know if she's like the most optimal thing. But sometimes if you're just running around killing echoes, like you just want to group everything up and finish it, right? So that I think there's value in that.
I'm very conflicted on her. So if I would need to place her regarding how much fun I had playing her, it would be F tier. Not even below. Like it's literally I held my left click for 6 seconds and waited. That was literally all I did on her. And for me, that was not fun, personally. My main problem is currently in the TC we have, so basically the way of how we TC our stuff is we try to get which rotation can we do to get to 100 Concerto as efficiently as possible while still pushing out the most damage or the most utility depending on the problem is the only rotation we currently have takes 16 fucking seconds. 16. That is longer than any other DPS in the entire game. And she doesn't even deal damage during that time. So she does like 14k or something. So for me, she would be B if not even C tier. However, I think if we discover a better rotation and how to play her more efficiently, she could certainly move up.
Look, I don't know about damage. For her, she's just a vacuum cleaner. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Not
you're
wrong.
talking like 14k damage. She could do like 2 damage, and the whole point though is that she brings everything into a neat little ball where you can then do 8 times the DPS because you're hitting 8 things versus hitting 1 thing, right? So that's where her value is. And personally, again, from what I'm seeing, there will always be at least 10 stamina worth of stuff for her production power to be useful, right? Because each character has 10 stamina to go into the tower adversity. We have at least one that's 5 cost with a bunch of garbage at the beginning, right? So if she can help you get that 3 stars, to me, and she can do that with way less effort than other characters can, then to me there's value in that, right? But you're right, her damage sucks. The way she plays, she stands there for 4 seconds, and that just feels bad. Is it 4 or is it 6 seconds?
6 seconds,
Right?
6.25 to be exact.
Yeah, 6 seconds. Yeah. So, here we have like, so between like these two characters, right? Jianxin and Yangyang. Here we have like the Dyson newest model vacuum. And then for this, we got like, Walmart brand vacuum when it comes to their sucking capabilities, right? So, they actually do have kind of like different capabilities in that sense. And I personally value the grouping significantly because, like, same with Genshin, right? Like, imagine doing the Viridescent and Veneer dungeon in the early game without Venti's burst. You're chasing around every, annoying dude that's throwing rocks at you the whole time versus just bundling them up in a ball and pressing Q, right? So to me, that's where her value is. And I know she doesn't cheat well, and she doesn't feel well, and she doesn't play well, and she takes too much field time.
Say something good about the character. Hold up. You said it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of my point. But if you guys disagree strongly, we can move her around.
No, that's good.
I think,
dude. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, no, go first.
I was gonna say, dude, have we talked about the level of investment that you'd need for this character?
Not much.
Because she is also a 5-star.
Yeah.
Now, again, if you're able to build her in such a way that you don't need to invest, again, I apologize because I'm not like the most versed on this character outside of basically hearing everyone on the entire globe talk about how weird it feels to play her. I would say, if she's not a character that you need to invest a lot into, maybe that's fine. But if you need to invest like highly into her, either her awakenings or whatever it is, in order for her to like be the Dyson, then I think it might feel, I think, a little bit worse to keep her in the A. But assuming that you could just, slap whatever on her, Venti 2.0, whatever you want to call her, I think that's fine. But I just wanted to ask because I don't know if we had mentioned, because that's probably going to be a big thing about specifically talking about the 5-stars, right? Like, what level of investment do you need? And for some people, she's gonna be your selector, right? Especially if you don't manage to luckily pull her from banner or from the beginner banner. So
Yeah.
My only warning is for every person out there that's like, oh, but I can hold that attack and counter. You have to also understand that sometimes AI in games is dumb and they just won't attack you. Like it won't work. And that's one of the reasons why I love Beto, but I raged because there's so many opportunities where the enemies just like wouldn't hit me, they wouldn't attack me, they wouldn't be aggressive. And so it's hard for me to get too excited about her long.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there are 2 more points.
Okay.
Relatively short. So the first point, kind of getting back to what Kana said, the level of investment is not necessarily high because you mainly just want to build ER and attack as well, because everything, her heal and shields, the scales of attack as well as her damage. It's not really difficult to build her. I think right now she is not in the best position. However, her outro also gives liberation damage bonus. And I think that's very valuable. The only problem right now is there's no character currently who needs that.
Hey, what
So,
about our girl Chixia from earlier? Remember? Zero frame ultimate.
yeah, but then you would need to play Chixia.
Fair.
All right. Okay, so if no one's protesting here with her in the A tier, then we can move on to the best character in the game. Our boy.
I mean the CBT1 version of him.
Lingyang. Yes, I don't know anything about him I don't know anything about him in CBT1, but I can tell you about him in CBT2. I could not stand using him.
Yeah.
It was horrible. It was horrible. He was so janky, and it just felt like I had to work 10 times as hard to do damage with him as with any other character.
I think we can place him in B below Chixia.
Wait, we're moving him down?
Yeah, certainly.
Oh,
below
okay.
Chixia, because Chixia at least feels good to play.
Yeah, like the hitboxes have to be changed for that unit, because when he's in his like hopping on the bongos form, he is essentially airborne, but also getting hit below, and it's just like this situation where you've essentially doubled the hitbox. He doesn't exist in the air and he doesn't exist on the ground. He's just this big giant tall tower that gets crushed by everything.
Oh my gosh!
At least that's what I found. Or it's just like it feels like you're in an animation and you just can't dodge properly. So I do not like the character. Does not feel good to play to me. Like the attacks feel fine, but when you go into boss fights, he fell off. Absolutely off a cliff.
Yeah. I think a big issue I had with him was I couldn't dodge. Like when I was in the air, I couldn't dodge. I couldn't parry properly. So that was my main issue with him. I'm not sure how he sheets in terms of damage, like if he does great damage or not. But until they make a boss that's floating at eye level, so the rest of the characters can't hit them, but he can, then I'm personally going to be avoiding him, unless they also buffed him hugely somehow. Like maybe his attacks, reach the heavens and hell at the same time. But I doubt it personally. We'll see.
Something that I think was mentioned in one of the spreadsheets was that if you are looking to pick, or like if you're, if you are someone that's like, number crunching, like spreadsheet kind of enjoyer, if you take a look actually at the resonator sheet, the mega resonator sheet, in terms of value, or like and this is assuming nothing's changed. I know a lot of these spreadsheets and a lot of the numbers change a lot, but technically speaking, I think you get the most value actually out of getting the 5-star gauntlet for Lingyang, right? But the only problem being that then you have to play Lingyang. And I don't know, I think where Lingyang is fair, but to your guys' point, it sounds like the kit was intended to be something like, like you were supposed to bypass mechanics when you're in airborne, and it looks, or it sounds like it's like a glitch that you're double the hitbox size, because I can't imagine that's like the intended function of any character that, like, doesn't become like a Goliath-sized tank. He's not a mech, it's not like a Gundam. He's like a flying lion dancer, right? Which is kind of his thing. So I don't know if they'll ever change or do anything to this character. But it just doesn't even sound like the way that they intended him to be played is how he's being played. Like really? Like he's supposed to just get hit more? Like that doesn't even sound logically correct, right?
No, yeah, he definitely does. He just felt like he was getting hit more, for sure. That's a great way to put it. And maybe Kuro Games completely fixed him. I don't know, right? I mean, actually, MTash, did you try him out in your thing?
I don't know if I'd be allowed to say, even if I did. Like, if there was changes, So I'm not sure, but I didn't really equip him because I hate that piece of trash. I mean, what? But yeah, no, I did not do any testing even.
Okay, fair enough. So, maybe he's godly now, but at least based on what we can remember from CBT2 as well as whatever else, he just doesn't feel good to you, right? And that's the big issue. Okay, Danjin. There's a lot of hot takes with this character, and yeah, who wants to go under fire first?
I will
Not
do
me.
that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think T1 or AT is quite fine. So the problem is for most casual players, I to be honest, I really hope Kuro will like post like end of year statistics how many players died using Danjin. Because I think that will be more than we have humans on the entire planet. Most casuals will just die over and over with her and then stop playing her. However, if your name is Rexland or Stepadu, you probably can just solo every single boss in the entire game, especially if you understand how he works. The problem is a little bit her damage itself at S0 is just kinda mid. But if you get a 6, she gets really good. So I think it's an investment character with a high risk and high reward. High risk, high reward, I think, is probably one of the better approaches here.
Yep,
Yeah.
I think there's going to be ways to abuse the units and do crazy damage. And if you want to sweat and learn it, that's fun. For me, I'm probably not going to go down that path myself. At least not in the early game. I'm going to just go for kind of like the guaranteed units. And so I feel like it's almost like one of those units when, down the road, you get some copies, maybe you play around. But for me, it's just not a priority.
Yeah, and another thing is that if I'm not mistaken, the only way that you get her, or like one of the ways that you're primarily going to get her early on, is if you pull for Jiyan, right? And if I'm not mistaken, she's the 4-star that's associated on this banner. And even more so, I think what complicates this is whether or not you're even going to pull for Jiyan, right? Like I think some people have or probably hear about how like vicious or how lethal like number one. Okay, let's be real. A lot of people love the Yinlin, like the Yinlin banner that's going to be coming up. Well, maybe not the banner itself, but love her. And so if you're going to be like Calcharo and I love Yinlin, they're going to do super well. Well, then you, as Rivenus or like mentioned before, you're not even going to get access to that S6 of Danjin that easily, right? And if she's just okay at one copy, then like even more so, I think like where she's placed right now in A is fine. But then I think like something that kind of throws me off a little bit, and this is assuming they don't change anything to her, like off rip, is that if you have, or even if you end up getting the S6 like Danjin, like you're gonna probably have a couple copies of Jiyan. And like, are we really gonna say that, yeah, I'm not gonna use my, 2 to 3 copy Jiyan over like Danjin? Like, don't get me wrong. I personally, I know there's some people that don't like her design. I really love her design and I like the whole Hu Tao Berserker playstyle. But at the same time, if the only way I'm gonna get it is by pulling for like a rate up banner, and I don't just get her naturally from some other means, then I don't know how much or like how in love I'm gonna be with this character, right? Because I have to, you know what I mean? Like if I'm at S3 or if I'm at C3 or something with G, man, I'm going to C. I might as well go to C6. like what are we? You know what I mean? And there's no way to guarantee get max copies of her, which I think is kind of my concern with her. But
Yeah.
I think she's just gonna die over and over.
Yeah, so I did clear all the holograms 5s with her. I didn't finish the last difficulty because the server shut down like 8 hours before I expected it to. A bad time conversion. But she is really funny because if you enjoy trolling yourself, she's a great character. Because she's the only character that I would consistently die with in the overworld. Like I'd go up and try to beat up a turtle, and Danjin would just die. No, because
So-
you're constantly at 10% health. Let's just put it that way.
I do want to say one more thing. I think we kind of agree all that she's just A tier and can be either B or C tier or also S minus depending on how well you play. But Danjin is also the literally only unit in the game who does not need any ER, like literally 0%.
Yeah, and she has some of the longest sustained DPS windows, right?
Yes, and she can parry really well, and she, at least in the CBT2, I'm not sure if they will fix that for release or not, but she was able to stack her forte without literally doing, like, you didn't need to hit anything. I think that was pretty broken.
You know who else could do that? Chixia.
Well,
Mm.
no, she doesn't count.
True.
Okay. Man, I see we don't have many fans of her besides me. Okay. All right, the next best character in the game, C tier.
I will not
Aalto.
comment on him.
Does anyone actually want to say anything about him, or?
Like, isn't his like outro skill at least potential for arrow characters? Like it's an arrow damage boost, so like there's got to be some utility there. He is ranged, so like maybe you can kite enemies. I haven't played him enough. I haven't built him to like have a strong thing. But if the math is saying the damage isn't good and the support capabilities aren't great, then I don't know.
So my problem is he sounds like a support but plays like a main DPS. And if you have him if you actually go for his sequences, his damage gets quite fine. Like he goes ahead of Chixia, for example. But I honestly have absolutely zero love for this character. I don't know how to use him effectively. I don't like his rotation seems very scuffed to me. Not sure how to use this.
Does it feel like with Genshin Impact or with Honkai Star Rail where it's like, what's the newest character in HSR, like Misha or whatever, Misha, like the ice unit? It's like you could build them, you could make them do damage. It's just not optimal. It just doesn't feel like they have a place in the game that's going to be worth the investment.
Well, I mean, just based off of what we were talking about earlier, right? Like, who would you replace if you wanted Jiyan to get, the energy and like the attack buff from Verina? Like, if you even want to phrase it like that, like, who are you replacing?
Yeah,
If you're gonna
fair.
take out Aalto for Verina, you're gonna take out Aalto for like a 50% damage increase. This is good. I think that a lot of people value Aalto, and I think there's definitely gonna be a composition, I'm sure, where like increasing arrow damage will be good. But I think like at the same time, like this is maybe never going to be one of those characters that you use for like your main team with Jiyan, unless if you're like, man, I love Calcharo. I also have Jiyan, very lucky, and you just managed to Luxac both off like the banner, and then you have your second team probably have like Jiyan and maybe Aalto, and then your first team is Calcharo and Yinlin. Like if that's kind of the angle that you want to go with, that's like what I can think of. Otherwise, I'm kind of, my hands are up. I don't really know where this Aalto guy would really fit in if you're trying to use him like a hybrid DPS support, so.
Okay. So no spots. Where's Taoqi?
Ouchie. Okay. I actually know nothing about this character, so I'm not even gonna comment on. Besides, I like the way she looks though.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
hot take. I don't like how she looks, and I also don't know how to use her effectively because she has split scaling.
Ah. Wait,
Huh.
you don't like how she looks?
All I know is that every time I looked up this character, like I've seen like 5 YouTube video thumbnails with her like plastered on screen. She has the biggest honkers I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah,
Dude.
he's just gonna go out and say it. So.
I didn't notice. I thought she had a great personality.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you're right.
Whatever.
You're right. My
Dude,
bad,
did you
my
not
bad.
see
Oh,
her
shoot.
presence in
Oh,
the story? Oh my gosh.
Oh, I just woke up, guys. Oh, sorry. Can
Yeah,
you guys fill me back
okay.
in? What happened? Sorry, I lost myself a little bit.
So
All
Yeah,
right.
I've never built her.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just not a priority unit. Maybe down the road, but for me, I'm putting 0 into.
Yeah. Do we just not know enough about her, or like I mean, Rivenus, you've actually done stuff for her, right?
So
like calcs and stuff.
I can only say 2 things. Number 1 is her damage is by far the lowest in the game, even below Verina. It's not even close.
Wow.
Because the problem is you need her basic attacks, which scale off attack, to build Concerto somehow, but you kind of want to build defense because everything else scales off defense. So I'm not really sure how she would be played effectively, to be honest. She doesn't do much, in my opinion. The only thing what she actually does is she is a skill issue fixer. If you can't dodge Encore, she can trigger your 5P, the 5P Zubiju set. That's totally fine. And she will prevent you from getting one hit. So she fixes your skill issues, but aside that, I don't know why I would play her.
Do you have to like build a lot of defense for her to fix your skill issues?
Oh, you don't have to build anything on her. So I think if you want a really good team, she is like easily C tier, if not below. I'm not sure how to place her correctly. But if you have a lot of skill issues and just wanna get hit 24/7 and make use of this dying combat mechanic, just move her up to like A tier.
Okay, so then we should have a zombie team, right? We have Jianxin, Taoqi, and then Verina. So you do no damage and you never die. I love
Dude,
it.
there's gonna be someone that beats the whole game, 30, max stars every. Dude, that's gonna be a banger video when it comes out.
Oh
Which
man, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
My son has a fever and I have to go pick
Oh no.
care. Yeah. So I just looking at the list here, I'm putting
Okay.
Baizhi like in the early game probably like S minus. Like I rate her pretty high just because there's just not a lot of other choices. And then Mortefi again like S minus. I agree with them. Super good, if not S tier. Like honestly, because there's just like not anyone else doing what he does in my opinion yet, but maybe get replaced. And then Yuanwu, I like the idea of the turret. Like I think the turret's kind of cool. Like maybe A tier. I don't know about B tier, but again, I don't know the numbers. Like I don't know the math on it. So maybe the damage just isn't that good. I just like the idea of having like official, in game. And then finally, was it Sanhua or
Sanhua, yeah.
Sanhua? I looked at her like copies. She seems like she gets crazy scaling long term, but maybe in the early game she's not as crazy. So
yeah,
tough to say. I'm not too sure about that one. He is obviously just like a limited character. If you get a limited weapon too, I see why they're in here. And then she is amazing. Like I rate her high. I would put her in the S tier because I think she's going to be universally good for a long, long time. Any future Electro character, there's no reason to believe you can't put them together and it's going to be a crap. So that's the way I feel. Thanks, guys, for your input. I'm sorry for cutting this short, but I got to rip.
Oh, no worries.
Thanks
Please
for joining
take
us,
care.
MTash.
Yeah.
I hope your son's doing okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
talk to you soon.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
See you. Bye-bye.
Yes, yeah.
All right. So MTash is gone. That means I have to remove his little portrait there.
No, MTash.
The spirit of MTash is with us.
All right. So I guess we will try to finish this tier list. It is 1:30 for me. So, okay, I don't have to go until roughly 4-ish, I believe. So.
Oh, tomorrow is perfect.
Oh,
enough time for
yeah, perfect.
that's enough for Mortefi. That's cool.
Yep.
I mean, I think to like finish off the Taoqi section, if that's how you say
Okay,
it.
yes.
I think like what a lot of people have been saying, and like you just can compare. I mean, I think since there's so much right now that is unknown and you have so many factors to consider, I think something that's worth looking into is just comparing like who would you replace, like, or who would you put in instead of her, or like who would you replace her with, like in a team. And we're talking about shields and being tanky. Are you replacing Baizhi? Are you replacing your ability to just not get hit? Are you replacing Verina? Probably not, right? And Baizhi, and I think probably, I guess just really just Baizhi and maybe Yangyang are probably going to be the ones that are just like staples, either as a support and you maybe don't just run like a healer, or you run some sort of mix of that. I think it's just so hard to see where she would shine. Outside of, again, her personality. But I mean, outside of that, I think putting her in C is probably going to be the most fair. But I'm positive, like at some point we're going to find out that like either we get more stats, or it's going to feel like something comes out and she's going to have a spot. I think what people compare to her to, which I think is kind of true based off of what I've seen, is Noelle, which is, I mean, yeah, like thinking about how like I felt about Noelle, like for Genshin, it wasn't until like something really changed for her, or like someone really got added that complimented her before she got better, right?
So Taoqi, you actually bring up a really interesting point, and something that's going to be added potentially could be a really good like shield echo set, right?
Yeah.
If something like that comes out, then Taoqi's stonks will rise, and I mean, just her issue is just like on release though, right? The value just isn't there. Well, I guess not on release. Her 3 weeks down the road, because she's in the second banner, right? Yeah, she's in the second banner, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, I guess?
Are we on Sanhua now? Sorry.
Wait, one more thing about shields that my audience probably isn't aware of, because they play Genshin Impact and shields are completely goated there. Shields suck in this game because you still get slapped around and knocked around you get flinched.
Yeah.
You get knocked down. So the whole point of shields increasing your DPS to just be able to face tank and punch back doesn't apply in Wuthering Waves. There is like the heavy hit mechanic, right?
right?
Yeah. Exactly, right? So like that's one big issue with shields, and I don't know like how, whether they change that or if it's going to change, but at least when I was using them, it felt bad because they didn't feel like shields. It just felt like, I don't know, another color on the life bar.
That's actually, I think that might actually be the worst sounding like implementation of a shield ever. Just a little bit more health in a game where you get one shot and knocked down anyways. Like what?
Exactly, yeah.
I do want to emphasize on one thing though. Everything which we have done in the CBT2, we haven't been even max level, not even close.
Yeah.
So if you have really good builds and you are max level, I think that will also change a lot and you will not actually be one shot at that point anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do keep in mind though that it's going to take free to plays like 3 months, I think, to hit max level. Right?
8 months?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Did you say 8?
Longer, right?
Wait, where's my union level experience?
Okay, you know what?
If you never refresh, it's 6.5 months. No, that's if you refresh.
I've had enough onions for today, okay? So
7.3 month. 7.3, I'm sorry.
That is a long time.
But that does not include any new content. So if there,
is that to hit the character level cap, or is that to hit the onion level cap?
Union level.
Okay, so character level cap probably comes before that, right?
I have no idea. I never hit it, so.
None of us have, right? Okay.
Dude, our one guy left.
To be fair, I'm playing Genshin, well, on and off, to be honest, since 4 years now, closely. I'm still not even 60, but I also don't play every day, so.
Right. Okay.
So I think playing every day for like 7 months is reasonable.
All right. Okay, let's keep going. We've got Mortefi next. We can all agree he's great. The question is how great. I think he's slightly better than Chixia.
I think it kind of depends, right? Like, something that I'm a little, I was meaning to like maybe point out a little bit more, or like maybe we should have talked about it a little bit earlier, where like some of the, not necessarily like all the criteria, but how much we're weighting certain values in the tier list. Because if we're talking about like a bit of potential, right, like you could argue that Calcharo, right, isn't like the S once Yinlin comes out. And I think it's kind of something similar for Mortefi, right, where if you have someone, if I'm not mistaken, he's like the whole improve heavy attacks, right, like he or he has, or is it charged? I think it's either charged or heavy attacks.
Heavy attacks?
Yeah, I think it's heavy attacks. Like as you, or if they pretty much release any character that does more or is more reliant or fixated on that, I think the character's just gonna get infinitely better. And as he is right now, like we're already rating him to be quite good. I mean, again, you can consider basically everything about this character, I guess, like potential. But you also have to remember that he's, compared to, unfortunately, Chixia, just the better, in most cases, the better pistol user, right?
I'm glad you agree.
I'm not trying to fight you on this, but do you know what I mean? Like if he's kind of the go-to or the premier, like pistol user at this point, what are we, how do you not put him in? Well, I don't know if I would put him ahead of Rover. Would I put him ahead of Rover? I guess he's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think there is a good point here in that the only character that really spams heavy, well, okay, there's 2, I guess, but the main character is Jiyan, and he only spams it for like what? How many seconds? And we alternatively have Jianxin, who also spams heavy attacks, but it's Jianxin, and it's an AoE, and he is single target, so it doesn't even have like great synergy there. But yeah, I mean, him with Jiyan spamming heavy attacks is good, and even him outside of that is surprisingly good, right? Rivenous, like him, yeah, with just basic attacks.
I have a hot take on Mortefi. I don't think S- is fair, and he is probably more like S tier.
Okay.
Oh.
Reason for that is the current 5-star weapon is literally his best in slot. It's not even close. His constellations are incredibly good. He gets he
Yeah.
outdamages most of the main DPS.
Mm-hmm.
He benefits a lot, and right now we only have one heavy attacker, which is Jiyan, which means the more we get, the better he will get as well. So he's also somewhat future proof as well. I personally think S- is not fair to him.
Hey, I can go. I can agree
Okay,
with that for the
hey,
most part.
we could get spicy here. You know what I mean? We have to keep the essence of MTashed alive.
Yeah,
We
let's get
gotta give some
cancelled. Let's
hot
go.
takes. Yeah, hot takes here. Okay, that's what that's what we're all about. So mine. Okay, I do have a hot take. I'm
Mhm.
not the biggest fan of Baizhi. Okay, so every time that I had her on my team, I never felt like it was worthwhile to swap her on, do her thing, get her outro, and get a 15% attack buff. Right. To me, it just always felt like she took too much field time in comparison to Verina, and the healing was again useless. Right. So, I don't think personally she never felt great to me to use because since I also use Danjin a lot, she didn't feel good to use with her.
Yeah.
The healing was pointless. Danjin needs a million field time. I used her with Jiyan as well, who I just felt like just wasn't impactful enough with him either. I don't know.
Mhm.
So I don't know what you guys what do you guys think about her?
I think I think you're going to encounter what MTashed was talking about, which is like if you are like max free to play, because although like getting a copy of Danjin is by no means like a whale status. Of course, obviously not. But if you're going to be getting characters like Jiyan and Danjin, I think you're already starting to look at like maybe some more offensive options or pairing stuff with Yangyang. But I could imagine, what if someone like Rover's your main DPS, right? And like, what if you, have or want a bit more flexibility to the way that you play? Like maybe you're not always 100% there. You don't get the like the parasite locked in mode. Like the locked in meme, basically. Like, I think having a healer that you don't have to pull for in the form of Verina, if you like, just for whatever reason, you just absolutely despise like having Verina. I think that's really where Baizhi is supposed to shine, right? Because some
Yeah.
people aren't going to pull for Verina. Like
Okay.
if you want a damage increase and stuff, like maybe it makes a bit more sense to have her as like your even like maybe even your second team for like if you're talking about Tower of Adversity. But even just in general, I mean, I know I don't know if this is a hot take, but I definitely played Genshin like 1.0 like way different than everyone else. But like
Mhm.
just like having the healing thing or like being able to like top myself up a little bit with like Barbara like early on felt like I was not stressed
So
out. Like I'm a
my
very anxious
issue
person,
with her healing is that you have to be slapping stuff, or you can use her
Yeah.
skill and it barely
Mm,
heals, right? Like it heals like
yeah.
a tiny bit. You have to invest a lot into her for her to actually like top you off.
Mhm.
And okay, so here's how another way I think I would put her is the reason why okay, you guys are all right. She is the only alternative to Verina. But
Yeah.
my problem is she really feels like the Natasha of this game, right?
Yeah.
Or the Barbara of this game, where she's literally the only healer that you start off with.
Mhm.
And that means that, by definition, she's the best there. But all those, all that stamina you spent on Natasha, where is it now? Right? It's in Natasha.
Yeah.
It's in your like locker in your basement. You're not taking her back out because you've got Luocha, you've got whatever.
Mhm.
You're never seeing Natasha again. And that's how she feels to me. Right? Like, yes, she's an early game healer and literally the only, but I personally regret every stamina point that I put into her past the early game because I literally never used her in the tower. I never swapped her on when she was on my team. So that's just how I felt. But I think her being literally the only healer and Verina Light, which she didn't feel like Verina Light to me. She felt like Verina if I don't have a good analogy for this, but basically Verina if she wasn't Verina.
Okay, question.
Costco or
Yeah.
what is it like Walmart Verina?
Yeah, well, Walmart Verina. Where's the Dollar Tree? Dollar Tree Verina. There we go.
For what it's worth too, if you do have a Verina Light, that character is probably like
Yes.
S tier.
Verina Light
or
is
S
good,
minus,
yeah.
you know, like
Okay.
but like, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
have
okay,
to
Rivenus.
I have to interrupt you there. Why the fuck
Yes,
are we
go
talking?
ahead.
Why again are we talking about healing?
Yeah, that's the other. Well, like you, like, don't you think it's kind of tough to just say, like, seriously? I mean, not even like in some scenarios, but like in any scenario, you just don't get hit. Like that's it. Like you just never get hit. Do you know what I mean? Like
No, that was
though
an
I
actual
think
question. Why are we talking about healing? Why is healing important?
It's for that 15% attack bonus on the set, which I'm just going to say it. 15% is literally 2 substat rolls on your echoes. It's
that's fair too. Yeah.
I would just rather go farm a bit
So
slightly better echoes and then go back and try it again
these
versus swapping her
these
on.
15% attack. Let's just take Jiyan as an example. Equal to a
Yes.
total DPS increase of 12% on him.
I mean that depends on a lot of factors, but it can.
I
lead
mean,
to
sure.
that
Attack
right?
percent.
No, attack percent gets diluted very quickly.
But attack percent is also
diluted
really
very
good
quickly.
because we have. So the thing is, we don't have a lot of sources for attack percent because most of the time we want weapons, for example, have crit rate, crit damage, whatever. We want double arrow percent, for example, on Jiyan on your main costs.
Yeah.
We want crit rate, crit damage on your 4-cost echo, which means we don't have actually a lot of sources for attack percent, which also means attack percent is quite good, especially early on.
Think of how many people are going to have those. We're going to be rocking attack percent main stats and stuff like that, right? And also, hey, hang on. Here's another argument.
Okay,
would you rather
let's
would
go.
you rather slap stuff with Jiyan with his admittingly crappy but still tolerable basic attacks and heavy attacks, or would you rather have her come on for 10 seconds to do her thing to make him do 12% more damage for 10 seconds?
So we have
right?
We have 2 points here. So
yes.
Let's first talk a little bit about Baizhi. Baizhi has one big advantage. Her outro gives 15% all type damage beaten. That is a true undiluted multiplier.
That's true. Okay.
That means
that is true.
It is applied after all other calculations, which means it is literally a 15% more damage for the next character.
Yes, the deepen multiplier.
Yeah.
Where is it? Here it is.
The problem with that is it's only the next character. I mean, it will last for 36 seconds, which is not bad. So that is quite a lot of damage you can gain from that. However, Verina does the same, except it's for the entire team and hence just better. Aside that, I mean, Baizhi gives like 15% attack when you summon your little Goba thing, Spice, whatever that is. So you also have to pick it up. Like, I don't know how exactly that works. I expect it's just like this little chili from Goba, kind of.
Oh god, so we're throwing in mini games now? I swear.
I mean, we have
Sanhua.
Sanhua.
I swear if that okay, that's different because does Sanhua have her mini game get stuck under a boss's ass? No, right? Like if it's like the Guoba chili, I'm gonna start molding because now you gotta go, like, hey, Mr. Heron, can you please scoot aside so I can pick that up to punch you a little harder? No, but I don't know. I don't know how the minigame works yet, right? So it could be not that bad, or it could be like crystallizes from Genshin Impact.
From what I heard, it's a small orb, which is really ugly to pick up, but who knows? I have not really played Baizhi much, so I want to kind of take a step back on judging her on that. I think her potential is there. The question is, you will probably need quite a lot of ER. Her energy requirement is like 175. It's just like
175.
Yeah, it's like the second highest in the game. I mean, it's the highest shared with who else has 175? I forgot.
Verina.
Verina.
Right?
True. Yeah, Verina. That's what it was.
Yeah, Verina. He's like 150 plus.
Yeah.
Something.
I think that makes it a little bit difficult to also fit her well into rotations. So the only way, you have to get her outro buff on the next character, which means, for example, you have to go Baizhi, Jiyan, Mortefi, Jiyan, but you will only literally, like, during this Jiyan, Mortefi, Jiyan time, you will basically lose the entire buff already. Which for me is the question, why not literally use anybody else? The problem is there aren't many alternatives except misusing Originite weapons, so you can have Lingyang support, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
Or
Okay.
you just run 2 characters because you're only investing in 2, right? Like we're
Yeah.
talking, it's going to take us again like 2 to 3 months at least to have anywhere close to 9 characters, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, she doesn't need that much to be built, fortunately. So I can see, I can see keeping her talents low, level low, and then just slapping on the
Yeah.
proper echo set, right? But actually, echo farming and the resources that go into building echoes, it's
Oh my
ridiculous.
god. Oh my
I
god.
spent
Echo tuners, man.
it
Holy
took
shit.
2 days of farming of all my stamina dedicated to just
Mhm.
farming for echo experience to level 1 single echo up to level 15, right? So that is a huge stamina sink to have a full echo set for another character like Baizhi, right? So we'll see though. We'll see how she ages. She feels like Natasha to me in this game, but Natasha was great at the beginning, and that's why A tier is still good. A tier is still like a solid character, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think A is fair because I mean, in the end, including the set, it's 30% total attack percent as well as 15% undiluted modifier. Like what else do we have instead?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think she will get replaced relatively quickly. But who
Yeah,
knows?
fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so next character, Punching Man with a hat. That's
He looks cool. That's all I can say about him. I have not even calced him yet. I don't know literally nothing about
Blue's
that.
Clues Yuanwu. Or
Yuanwu.
Blue's Clues, well.
Yuanwu. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't really think he looks cool. That's going to be the hottest take here.
I think if you are like a Silver Fox enjoyer, you'd wish that he didn't dye his hair. And then I think maybe maybe that was, I mean, okay, let's be clear. I don't think any character in Wuthering Waves necessarily looks terrible. And for what it's
Yeah,
worth, my god, the husbandos in this game are pretty peak.
they're
Like
good. Yes.
they're pretty up there. But
Yes.
I do have to agree. Yuanwu, I think his kit seems really interesting. But like as like Mtash had mentioned right before, or like a little bit like before he left, this is like a character that you get to put down you get to put something down on the field, right? Which I think a lot of people will just be like, oh, there's something else going on field, like, oh, it feels like I'm maxing and like field time this, field time that. Like if you just get to throw something on the ground and it's doing something for you, even like just that, it feels like you're, I don't know how to explain it. It's like every time in Genshin when I put down like Fischl's bird, I was like, oh yeah, and like this is
It's
my
doing
birth window.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, like I've got like, look at this, I've min max. I'm like playing so efficiently, like the bird's out and it's hitting multiple targets, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Although I
Yeah,
think Yuanwu's pillar does like what 10 damage. The ticks.
I think Yuanwu
yeah,
has one big advantage, and that is the fact that he can actually deal damage in an electro team while building defense, which means you can actually make use of your early defense echoes. I
yeah.
personally think is not that bad. Secondly, he
Interesting.
is what I imagine Fischl's dad to look like. I'm not sure if that is an argument, but
Okay, so where are we putting him? Because I honestly I have
I
no
have,
idea.
yeah, same. Somewhere between A and B, maybe. He could be either really good, but I have done zero calculations on him. I have
I think
no idea.
it's fair to put him in A. I think
A.
I think because like if the only reason why we aren't able to rate a character that can basically use all your fodder gear is because we're not really sure to rate him. Like, do you, okay? Like again, we could just do this metric. Do you think he is much worse or on the same tier as Chixia, or do you think he is much worse than Baizhi?
I mean, I just have no idea. Okay, so here's another weird take from me, from a different
Okay,
perspective.
okay, okay.
If you don't get Calcharo and you don't pull Yinlin, Yuanwu might be your best Electro DPS character, especially for the Electro Tower. I don't know if that matters,
I
but
think that does matter because Bitix in my chat actually said something which I want to bring up here as well. I think that's a really good point.
Mhm.
If you actually play him as your main DPS, he is defense scaling, which means you don't make much use of Verina's attack in this case. So you might have an excuse to
True.
run a team without Verina, which is
Taoqi time.
important if we actually, need 3 teams.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I guess this
think-
is our probably least educated placement
Yeah.
overall.
Yeah,
But
he's tough, but also like again, it really doesn't help that he is not like, you know, he's not he's not Danjin, he's not Mortefi, he's not Calcharo. Like
right,
even if you did get him, which I mean, like you had to be
we're all
free to
getting
play in
him.
close bidder, right? Yeah, yeah,
We're all
yeah.
getting him. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
the
it's just
Xiangling
sorry, I
reward.
mean like investment, like
Oh,
investment
okay.
wise, like
Yes.
to play him. I think it's just like there are already so many characters that you have to test out in this game, and not to
Oh
say again
man.
this has any credit. It's just like for me personally, it sucks. I agree that we don't have more info on him,
Yeah.
but you know,
All right. Well, we'll just leave him here.
yeah.
I I can agree with this specific picture being here because he doesn't have the fedora. If he still had his fedora, I'd move him down here.
Wow.
Shit.
So
S plus tier, S plus, S plus, S plus.
since he got rid of the fedora, we'll put him in the A tier. All right. Now we have Sanhua. I like her a lot.
Yeah, agreed.
Me too.
The question is top of A, or if we go in here super hot with an S minus placement.
I would
But what do you guys
probably
think?
go either top A or S minus. So Sanhua is probably the best hybrid which we currently have for Encore, which is cool. She can also be played as a main DPS if you kind of want to. The problem is a little bit her sequences are really, really good, but they are mainly good for her being played as a main DPS because in her usual hybrid rotation, you don't actually use your basic attacks, which is a little bit of a problem because you're missing out on 15% crit rate. However, she does really good damage.
She does, yeah. And she has the option of being low field time or with, like you said, a couple constellation or sequences. She can be then a main DPS, right? So yeah, I feel conflicted as to where to put her. I think she feels about as strong as Rover, right? Like looking if we actually look here, I think she feels roughly about the same, if not, you know, I've even seen better feats from her in some cases. So, do we feel comfortable putting her here, or
just to give a little bit of input? This is for her being played as a hybrid
right?
or sub DPS, however you want to call it. These calculations also might change a little bit, but if I just look at it, the difference between S0 and S6, it goes from 21k at S0, which is Rover level, to 29k, which is Encore level.
That's Encore, yeah. That's Encore level.
And given that is her, I think actually it's not bad.
Yeah, and I think being a 4-star character, like since we're recommending people, if you get Sanhua, you know, you can. This is how valuable we think she is, and people will get 4-star constellations down the road.
Also, she's free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and
You
we get
started
one
with her
copy
too,
of her,
right? Yeah.
and we get one copy of her, right? So I think this is fair then because she's slightly more future proof than some of the others due to her very strong sequences. She's not super high risk to play like Danjin. She can fill multiple shoes as well. So I think it's fair. I think it's fair. All right. We happy with that?
Very happy.
Yeah. I'm down. Get
Okay.
cancel time. Okay. We made her better than Yangyang and Danjin. Okay.
Hey, I guess when you put it that way, it does sound kind of bad, huh?
Hey, where's the FBI thing? Like I am not legally, I am not like associated with the individuals or the opinions of this tier list.
We're all gonna have
hands are
that.
up.
We're all gonna have that as a disclaimer. We can all blame each other for this tier list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so last two characters, I think Jiyan as well as Yinlin. I mean, there's no question that they're S tier. The question is who, I guess if we order this, do we think they're better than Verina? I think they're better than Mortefi by a bit, but
I think trying to compare like
not
actually trying to compare maybe everyone except for Mortefi and Yinlin, who you can maybe argue are both technically like the hybrid slot. It's kind of tough, right? Because you're trying to compare like, is Jiyan a damage dealer better than Verina, who's a support? Like I think it feels a little bit tough to compare them. I think them being an S is that's great. right? Like it's
Yes.
solid, and I think that's who it's gonna be. And even for the Pridewood tier list, you see it. It's all the
They're
S's are at the
separated.
top
They're
there,
all
right?
S,
Yeah.
yes, but they look equal. Here they don't.
Yeah, they don't. You're right. You're right. They don't. If you could slap them on top of each other to make like a chimera or something, I'm sure it would look pretty. I'm sure it would be kind of funny. But that's really how it is, right? Like they
So
are all really good.
yeah, I think it would be fair as of right now to place them like in the same tier, kind of, in like unordered as you did. However, personal opinion is Verina, Yinlin, Jiyan. The problem is DPS are the easiest to replace because we only need 3.
Yeah.
Well, with the way
Support.
that with the way that Calcharo plus Yinlin work, that might not be the case, right? Where having multiple DPSs is actually optimal because you just keep swapping between the two to keep
Yeah,
wrecking
but
the
that's
enemies.
a very unique interaction between those two, though. I mean, not unique. That is how the game is designed. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think Jiyan does only one thing, and that is a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And he can't really be swapped.
Yeah.
I mean, you can swap during his ult. The problem is you can't really cancel his basic attacks, kind
You're
of.
losing damage when you swap him.
Yeah, compared to like Calcharo, for example, or Yinlin, where
Yeah.
you don't really lose that much damage.
Yeah.
I mean, for what it's worth, too, like when we say like these characters are replaced, like we have to bring it back for a sec, right? Like we're saying replaced, and even, I mean, depending on what you're using it in Tower of Adversity, that's 3 teams, right? Even if
is.
Jiyan's not your first team, is he really not in your second or third team? Like how many DPSs are we gonna get released before he gets like that's at least what, like a couple months, 2-3 months
I
for
mean,
buffer?
yeah, sure, but resistances and stuff that they exist.
True.
Right now,
Yeah.
we have like Jiyan, so everything is gonna be weak to him. Afterwards, everything is gonna be weak to Yinlin.
Yep.
Basically, in the end, what it will result in,
Abyss syndrome. Yeah.
it's basically the Seele problem, or as a German, I can pronounce it correctly. It's Seele, But basically, as soon as another character comes out, your DPS will be replaced.
Yeah, it might take
They
a while
are.
because we have to cycle through all the elements too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I think it's really difficult. Like he is by far the best DPS currently. I mean that's not true. Calcharo is also really good.
Calcharo is
it's hard.
primarily single target though, right?
Yeah,
So
but Jiyan
like,
also gets very close to Calcharo in damage numbers, even single target. So as soon as you had like literally any second character, he just comes out ahead.
Gotcha.
Well, and to be honest, his sequences are like 120% more damage. It's pretty insane. Compared to Calcharo, who gets like 30%.
Sequences we can't relate, man. Like,
hey, you see that S0 at the top, baby? Let's go.
Yeah, we
That's
got this right here.
Fair.
Yeah.
So
okay. So Yinlin,
in the end, you will still be able to clear all of the content.
For a while. Yeah,
for a while, regardless if you have Yinlin or Encore or Jiyan or whoever, and if you want to main DPS, I don't know, Aalto, you can do that, you will be able to clear everything, probably, at least if you have like the skill for that. I mean, I don't know how power creep will happen. I have not played PGR, so I don't know how Kudo games handle power creep.
Here's another argument for Jiyan. We did not talk about how he is also, I would say, like, how Jianxin is a Dyson. He's like a Miel vacuum, okay? This guy will suck everyone up and carry them with him, okay? So he can always be used to just vacuum up all the trash mob floors in the future too, right? Worst case scenario, you bring him in, 3 to 4 of the early ones, and he'll just clean up all the garbage for you and take it out. Then you can
have to be familiar with Home Depot to be able to play WutheringWaves. Like, what's going on here?
Exactly.
What do I gotta do with a Dyson and all these different vacuums is? What's going on here, guys?
Okay, so I will bring one argument for Yinlin. Well, 2 arguments.
We moved on. Okay.
Yeah, she has really good personality. I mean.
Yes, the best one in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, she also is very flexible, so maybe we can move her a tier up, like a mommy tier. I don't know.
Another tier.
Just one more specifically for her for 2 good reasons.
I want to give you a layup. I want to give you a layup here, Riv. Really like small like anecdote. I told you guys earlier I played Genshin, but I didn't get the character I wanted. When Genshin came out, I saw Jean and I fell in love. And I wanted to play her like a DPS because she's got a sword. And I tried like seeing how she would be on a DPS, and then like boom, instantly, like alongside with all the people that said that Bennett was good. Oh, sorry, Bennett was bad. Like Jean was just not. She's just not it. So I don't know if you guys saw. Riv made a video about Yinlin not being a sub DPS, and I'm kind of curious. Do you want to defend yourself? Do you think would you go out of your way to rate her separately? Like, do you think if you had to use her as a DPS by yourself, like what would you?
Okay, so the reason why I don't think she's a sub DPS is because I personally just don't think the word sub DPS applies in WutheringWaves as it does in other RPGs. If I think of a sub DPS, I think of Jiangyang, for example. You swap in, you press your ultimate, you swap out. But that is not how you play the hybrid characters, as Britwin called it here. They all still need significant field time, and you will constantly switch between them. For example, as seen in this one Bilibili video, you will literally constantly swap between them, and your hybrid will take close to as much field time as your main DPS will. The only difference is they still do really good damage, and one thing they will do is they will buff up your main DPS. And that is not what I personally would call a sub DPS, but that is just my personal opinion, you know? It's not like official press E, switch out, or a Jiangyang, press R, switch out. You just need a lot of field time. You will constantly be with them on the field, do their full combos, use them for animation cancels. The only thing they do is they do buff up your main character, your main DPS, your hyper character. But yeah, in the end, let's see what kind of term actually establishes for that, because if everybody still calls them sub DPS, then I mean, that's what we go with. In the end, we want to be on the same terms.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I just wanted to do a lot, but I thought it was a really interesting video. Actually, because I'm a big Yinlin fan. I honestly want to make her my main DPS. If I don't,
yeah,
if I
same.
don't end up playing for Dan,
I will also play her as main DPS. 100%.
Or like try to make her do as much damage as possible if we want to like separate terms and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's largely a semantics thing at this point, right?
Yeah.
And it's totally fair for us to kind of move away from terms like sub DPS, which have a very strong implied meaning. But we'll see what ends up catching on. I'm advocating for onion level to be implemented into the game, for them to just change it from from onion to onion. So as for sub DPS and like hybrid DPS, is that what we're calling them? Hybrid? Or
Britwin called them hybrid. I personally think that's a good term.
Okay. Yeah. So my only issue with hybrid is, are they like a hybrid healer damage dealer, or maybe they'll also end up lumped in here, right?
I mean,
so
to be fair, if you
yeah.
scroll up the site, they do explain exactly why they called it like that.
They have all. Okay, this is too much reading for my.
It's a lot to read, but
I think our streamer not reading.
In the end, it is a support who also is supposed to do quite a bit of damage.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the TLDR.
Okay, so let's be slightly serious here.
Okay.
How do we want to define the mommy tier?
I think it's fine.
It's fine. Okay, so S. Should we clarify this is still S tier?
I don't think that's needed because it is an S tier. It's S plus.
S for get stepped on, or boys? Hello. Anyone else with me?
The stepped on tier. I thought this was this tier, and I'm not really into them stepping on.
You are getting in really hot territory right now.
My bad. Sorry, leaked out again for a sec. My bad.
Okay, so we have a bias here. We have a bias, but I think it's a fair enough bias, right?
Yeah, I'm quite happy.
I got Yinlin, all good.
Oh wait, well, I don't really think Chixia's mommy tier. She's like.
I think that's pretty. I don't think that these are two pretty separate characters. You can have if you want like a your wife tier or something.
I think she's best girl. That's how I would describe her. Best girl. Okay. Hey, I guess are we happy with this tier list? Any additional protests, adjustments? Are we happy with Yangyang being here in between these characters?
Do do you guys think that if you were to like comment about this tier list, do you think that they are ordered within their tiers as well?
I specified this is unordered, but for these other ones, I feel like some ordering is okay. But I don't know.
Personally, would put Sanhua above Rover.
Okay.
And if we
I guess
actually
I guess
go
it also
about
depends.
ordered or unordered, so the question is, what exactly do we take into account right now? Do we say that we also take into account for future-proof stuff? Because then I would leave Mortefi where he is. If we only reflect the current state, I personally would put Mortefi below Encore.
Move S.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, right? Like Mortefi is a character who like he's not going to feel like an S tier character the moment you get him and build him, right?
Yeah,
Compared to a
absolutely.
character like Jiyan. You know, you're going to start off with him and you're going to like ultimate and then you'll do like literally 20 damage to the enemies when you're smacking them and
Yeah.
it's just not going to feel good, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is also like I think people are going to view this tier list as the game is now just out. How strong are these characters right when I get them and when I start to use them and maybe a month down the road. So should we bump them down? I think this isn't like a future-proof tier list, right?
Then we can
like
move them down.
Yeah. Otherwise, Calcharo probably would have wanted to be in the S as well, right? If we're talking about
Calcharo will be a mommy tier if he's if we're talking about the future and and we're removing skill issues, right?
Oh yeah,
he'd
totally
be mommy
me,
tier.
totally me.
I think S- is fine. Calcharo has technically higher damage than all other characters, but he has the skill cap in there and the high skill ceiling. Encore is really easy to play, despite what some other people say, but her damage potential is not as high as the others. And I think we probably can move Yangyang a little, maybe below. It's so difficult. I actually would probably move Rover to A in the very front. So Yangyang has this very unique niche, but it's so difficult. I don't know.
It is difficult.
Honestly,
right?
top of A, bottom of S minus is really there's like really no difference. Like to
small
me at least,
difference.
You know,
so we make
they're literally right next to each other.
So we need another new tier S minus to A plus.
Borderline SA tier,
B plus, A minus, A plus. Dude, this tier list. Okay, another 8 hours, guys. How do you think? What do you think about that?
I have time, no worries.
Wait, what time is it in Germany right now?
11 p.m.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
we still have 8 hours. It's fine.
Reasonable.
Okay, so I think the more I think about it, like based on just because of if we're like basing this or having Pride up on the side, I think it's fair to say that we don't necessarily have to order it, though. Like maybe a couple characters are like very like obviously at the top or bottom of like a tier. Because if you think about it too, like are we really trying to compare, like Baizhi and like Danjin? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of, you know what I mean? I don't know if you could for sure say, well, Danjin is going to feel better than if you got Baizhi. It's like, well, you probably are just using them both or like on a DPS team or like on your second team if you're playing it like that.
So I'm gonna add this unordered at the top then. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Let's just do that.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Yeah, that sounds easier.
We'll keep it easy.
Sounds about right.
And okay. I think I'm finally happy with it.
Yeah, we can leave it like that.
Yeah.
Actually, I disagree. Let's go back and fight each other.
You know what?
Let's start anew. Let's start anew. This is good.
Yeah, start it. Hey, too much. Restart it. Let's go back.
Okay. All right. Let's do it. Refresh. No, I'm not clicking that button.
Oh, is there actually a refresh? Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, if you click refresh, it might.
I didn't see it. Oh, I just realized we can see it on the Discord or on the Discord stream. I was in your stream though, and Riv is covering the button. I was like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
I can click on it here.
Man. Oh man. Okay. What a gauntlet. Let's see. It's been 2 hours and 14 minutes. But we surprisingly it was much more civil than I expected. I figured we'd have stronger disagreements, but we didn't.
I feel like we disagreed with Pridewin more than we disagreed with ourselves. Like there are some things that are like a little off, but like I think like our big thing was like Yangyang,
Okay,
right?
so
And
we
then
buff these two characters, Sanhua and Rover. We move them up,
yeah,
right, a tier 0.5, and
yeah.
then
So
We
I
moved-
have I want to say I actually
and
have a
her,
little bit of a
Danjin.
problem. I personally think that one problem we run into is Mortefi is not on the same level as Sanhua and Rover. Mortefi is better than those. However, I also would not argue that Sanhua and Rover are on the same level as all the units in A tier.
Oh no, he actually wants an A+ tier. Oh, we are fucking
Okay.
doomed.
No, I mean,
Oh no.
please argue about that. Argue against that, actually.
No. I get it. I just think it's gonna look goofy because we have like S and then we have S minus A plus A and then BC. You know what I mean? Like how do we like lose a
Is this
middle
what
like
we're
a
doing?
middle tier?
Is-
Like
Um,
what just happened here?
So now is the question: what's the difference between S minus and A plus?
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Like, it looks,
are we
wait.
going too hard on this, right?
Okay. I think if you want an A+ tier, I think probably what's fine is if you want to do like S, SS, triple S. There you go. Solved. Fixed it.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know
Wrap it up.
what?
Wrap
Hang
it
on,
up,
hang
wrap
on.
it up.
We have S tier here, SS, SSS, SSSS, SSSSS, SSSSSS,
You're right. You're
and
Mommy
right.
Mommy
tier.
You're right.
S.
Mommy
Got it.
ass.
Got
Yeah,
it.
mommy ass
Everyone's
sounds
so
about
good in
right.
this game. Damn.
I vote for mommy ass. We just have to write it a little bit differently.
Mommy S tier. Oh god, okay, now we're starting to just meme.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
man,
fine.
this is a meme tier list.
But yeah, I can see where Riv is coming from. It does feel like they
Yeah.
are different, right? Like,
But I feel like they're a little
know-
better than the ones in the A tier, right?
yeah, they are. They're really like that's the thing. They're like very. It feels like they're very versatile and like very consistent in like.
Okay,
what
you
they're
know
doing.
what? Fine, we'll have an A+ tier.
Dude, someone's gonna post this. Someone's gonna look at this tier list and be like, "Why did they?
Okay.
Why did they add a tier in the middle?" And it's just like we go, no S+, but we have an
Okay.
A+, and we have an S-, but no A-. Like,
This has
like,
actually
what?
been on my mind since before I even made this tier list. Was I wanted to restructure it like this.
Yeah, that's fine.
It
We
looks
can do
better
that.
with fractions. Okay, it looks better with fractions,
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
right?
So now we have the.
Yeah.
No, actually, I think this is very solid. The only. Yeah.
Yeah. This is like a. I know there's some people that commented about it. Having a bell curve in a tier list is really, really important. Like, or not like, super important, but like generally speaking, if you're rating things, like the game has like a weird balance issue if everyone is all triple S, right? Or like the way that
Yeah.
you rate them. So
Mhm.
this looks nice, right? Like the middle's kind of has like the highest average outside of I guess Sanhua and Rover randomly taking us in the middle.
Yeah, but I just feel like I would recommend more people to build these two over like these three, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I feel pretty strongly about that. Like I'd be like, yeah, you should build. Should you build Yangyang? Maybe.
Oh, you could change the colors too. Oh my
Oh.
god, we are so colorful. This is gonna be great for the thumbnail.
Okay.
Oh wait, we make a
Perfect.
video out of that. Do I upload a fucking 3-hour video?
Oh my
Yes,
goodness.
all of us get it. The supercut, the 12-hour 4 POV supercut tier list.
12-hour
Holy crap.
tier list. Let's go.
Yeah, how to get cancelled 101.
Oh man. Okay, so I'm pretty bad with colors.
It's okay.
Blue looks kind of nice, right?
Wait, we have colors? I
agree.
thought this is all gray.
Okay, yeah. Tier 3 can be gray.
Can we call it also dumpster fire just to make it like spicy?
I could edit the
Dude,
HTML.
we're gonna get a lot of haters for
and
Taoqi if
dumpster
we
fire.
put her in the dumpster tier. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it also-
even if she's at the bottom, you know what I mean?
You know, it doesn't matter. We can just, for clickbait, basically. You just call it dumpster fire
man.
and remove all except for Taoqi, and then we are good.
Mhm.
You can
Oh,
also.
boy.
I'm pretty happy with this though.
No, I think it's
I
fine.
think this looks like
Yeah,
I think this
and
looks pretty good.
a big thing is like having this awkward tier, but it makes the difference seem smaller than if this was tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, right? Because like if this is T1 and this is T2, these characters seem a lot worse. But at T 1.25, 1.5, this seems like, okay, they're still pretty comparable. But actually, you know what? Let's make the T1s a bluish color.
what is going on here?
Hang on. So that way, blue theme is for like, you know, like that tier,
Cold?
and then we
They're
have,
like-
yeah, then we have like the grays for like the not as good characters, and then we have like the brighter colors as the top
I
tiers.
see. So
Yeah.
you hate green.
I would argue everything above tier 1.5 is what I would argue is meta.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And one
Seems fair
important thing,
enough.
please change the title to pre-release Tower of Adversity tier list, because otherwise people will say, why is Taoqi in there? And that is the reason.
Pre-release.
Not Taoqi, Danjin.
Tower of Adversity. Tier list S0 unordered. Please take everything with a giant grain of salt.
Make it a mountain of salt. A mountain of salt, and yeah, it's a mountain of salt.
Hey,
and
this
also
is not very sexy for my thumbnil title.
I
don't know
think
if
it
they're
looks
gonna
great.
like this one.
As long as it's under, if it's under 100 characters, you're good.
Is this actually 100 characters? This is a really long title. If you actually use it, I don't know if it calcs in at 100 or not, but
okay. Yeah, I hope MTash is okay. What we've done to his wait. I just realized my head is now, the title's so long, my head is blocking the low tiers on the tier list. Sorry, I moved myself over a bit. There we go. All right.
Perfect.
Wow,
Beautiful.
not that I want to talk about this any further, but like, damn, we are putting Danjin in the bottom half of the tier list.
Oh man, should we scoot her up?
No,
I like her a lot.
She can't be. No, I don't think you can. But it's like, wow, bottom half. Yeah, like, do you remember how our tier list looked like half an hour, or I mean, 8 years ago when we started this tier list? It's like we had Yangyang and we had like Yangyang, yeah, like yeah, middle to like top, and now they're like down below. Which I get it. Like, it's that Sanhua. Is it like that Sanhua and Rover are just? I don't even know how you'd fit this. Maybe if you wanted to make this look right, you'd have to make Calcharo and Encore like good.
I personally think Danjin is on Rover Sanhua.
I disagree.
That's my personal opinion.
So
yeah, I think Riv disagrees.
Yeah, I think 1.5 is quite fair, the same way of how she is in tier 1 in the Britwin tier list. The reason for that is simple. First of all, she has a skill cap. That is something we cannot actually just negate. That's the same thing while Calcharo is tier 0.5 and not tier 0 or mommy tier or whatever, because they are not that easy to play for every single person. The second part is it is still based on Tower of Adversity, and Danjin is really good against single bosses in, for example, holograms. That is certainly where she would move up to like tier 1 or even tier 5.
0. Yeah,
but
5.
I don't think in the Tower of Adversity she's as good.
Yeah, I guess it's just like, again, eye test, and I don't really have anything to argue against like her being up or down, but like I just based off of, I feel like everything that people have said, even if you look at like the Pridewin tier list, Danjin's in the middle, right? Like she's at or like around the same tier as Baizhi and Rover, and like if you think about it for a sec, like would you agree with Pridewin's tier list if Chixia was in tier 2?
Okay. I fixed it. Now she's in the middle.
There we go. Let's go, baby.
Perfect. We just leave it empty.
Yes.
We can also
Dude, put our channel thumbnails in the bottom two columns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, we can fill it out.
True. Easy.
Solved.
Oh man. Okay. I'll remove these. But
I mean, we can make a separate tier just for Danjin, and we call it Danjin tier, where they can imagine themselves if they want to place it in tier 0 or tier 3, depending on how much they like the character or what their imagination is.
No. I think the issue is that mommy tier is what's making Danjin look worse.
Yeah, but that's fair.
I mean, but okay. If you look at it though, if you move Danjin down for a sec, like if you remove the mommy tier, she's still like Danjin is still technically in the bottom half.
Yeah, but she
like
is
below the bottom half, which is what I think is like
5, 6, 7. I mean, yeah, she's in the middle of the pack here.
Yeah, I guess
Um,
technically they're equal-ish if you want, but like again, we technically separated it because she goes from being below the line to at the lower half because it's 7-6, right? Because you're gonna have like an equal split
yeah,
technically.
yeah.
So I mean, it's
My
not that big a deal. I just think it looks a little bit funny and all good. You know, we can go to group therapy when we get canceled for this. You know what I mean? Like all together now, guys. We can carpool.
all right. Okay. Um. Oh, geez. Yeah, I don't know. I look. I think Danjin is. I still feel like she's here in tier 1.
Yeah, then move
But
further. Whatever, it's fine. You
yeah.
don't like,
Okay.
just because I
Okay.
personally disagree, that doesn't mean
Mhm.
that I can be wrong as well. And in the end, if I'm right, I can say, "Ha, you are wrong." So good.
Look, she just really feels on par with these two,
I
right?
mean,
Okay.
Like,
Sure.
that's
Sure.
and all the
fair.
time I've used her. Yeah.
The only difference I personally think is she's just a lot of depends on just how well you can actually use the game mechanics. But yeah, I mean, okay, let's leave her in tier 1. I think that's
Okay. Yeah, she's middle,
We dodged the
right?
bullet. We dodged the
Like
bullet. We dodged the
I
bullet.
feel like these characters look clearly better than her, right? Which feels fair, and I feel like she looks better than these, which I feel is fair too.
So now is the question: is it still a Tower of Adversity tier list? Because now I would argue it's not anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just because of this, right? I mean, I think she does okay in tower too. I mean, you still have bosses to kill, and she still does a lot of damage, right?
Me personally, I would never get hit. Actually,
Oh
that's just
yeah.
me though.
Good point.
Okay, to be fair, she has ramp up time before she gets one shot, and she has a self heal where she'll get 2 shot instead.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, oh,
Thank God. Thank God.
your chat suggested something great. We have to add
yeah.
the no skill issue to the title.
Oh,
Oh man,
okay.
I feel like if we do no skill issue, doesn't this? Oh
No,
man,
no, that changes everything. Calcharo goes up to mommy tier.
Oh
Oh
You
yeah,
God.
can't.
that's
Oh
fair.
God.
True.
No,
Oh
no,
God.
no.
Oh
True.
God.
No,
Oh
we
God.
all have
Oh
skill
God.
issues.
Okay,
Okay,
let's
and
call
no
it
skill
skill
issue. We can
issues.
let skill issues. Okay, you know what?
I think this is okay. Okay. Keeping Danjin in 1.0 saves us from catching strays. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah. No, 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 no. Let's
the
leave her
cancel
here because
assassins are missing us with
if
this.
we average, Genshin players and punishing Gray Raven players, I think we will have her right here.
Yes,
Right?
perfect.
Okay.
Acceptable.
Okay. There we go. Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
I think I'm fine. I can settle with this.
Yep.
I have to settle with
I'm
it, so
down.
it's fine.
All right, and hopefully MTash likes what he comes back to or not.
Probably
Actually,
not.
I think
but...
Yinlin is shit.
No, no more. Okay.
Yeah, I think this is cool. I don't. Are you gonna be? Wait, are you recording this?
I'm recording it, yes, but there's my
Okay,
fucking
so do you
face on
guys want
there.
to do like a little? You guys want to do like a little outro or something?
Oh, not really. I'm bad even at intros.
Right. Okay.
I don't have enough
What do you think?
Calcharo for the outro, sorry.
What do you think about? What do you want to do? When?
Oh, you can do an outro if you want. I'll just end the stream when I'm done, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is gonna. I'm the only one doing it. This is so weird. Okay. Anyways, guys, this was our tier list, which is really cool and took 2 hours. But thank you again to Win, or I Win to Lose Gaming. Thank you to Mr. I Am Rivenous, aka Rivenous, and MTash who had to go because his son had a fever. I think, right, is what he said.
Yeah. Mhm.
But it was a fun time. Of course, things are likely going to change, probably going to change in some capacity, which is cool. But yeah, this is kind of our preliminary thinking. A lot of thought has gone into this tier list, and it's probably also going to be slightly off and or changed. And so make sure to keep up to date with all the spreadsheets, all the videos, all the social media of all the individuals. Win, if you want to plug yourself. This is so weird. I feel like I got invited to the
Dude,
stream.
I don't need to plug myself on my own stream, man.
True. Anyways,
They're already
Same.
hey,
watching
you
me.
guys know where they are. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Anyways, yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah,
That's
no,
great.
thanks Kana for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Yes, sub
Good
to
time.
him.
Yeah, go smash that subscribe. Kana.
Oh, Kana, please.
I feel like I just plugged myself.
Kana,
Yeah.
please plug yourself for my stream. I don't have those little cool icons.
Oh, thank you to everyone for inviting me. Hope you guys laughed at least once. That was my goal. Sorry if I'm a bit cringe. Sorry if my mic peaked. I only have a Yeti. Sorry, I'm no sure SMB7 guy. But yeah, it was a fun time. Learned a lot of learning on the stream, which is cool. But yeah, if you want to check out the rest of my content, I'm gonna be covering WutheringWaves as well. I think everyone at this point is doing like a free to play and a pull everything account, which is likely what I'm gonna be doing as well, because I want to see how the characters feel. I think that's a nice way to play a gacha game or any new game. So, but yeah, you could check me out on Kana with 4 A's on Twitch. I'm still waiting for the league player to retire. Thank you, please, very. And for YouTube, I'm just Kana CANNA. But yeah, thanks again for inviting me, guys.
Yep.
And yeah,
Thank you for
Thanks for
coming
joining
along.
us.
again soon. Yep.
See you around, man.
Yo,
Oh, if you-
thanks you very much for organizing this. Much appreciated.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Wait, here we go. So,
So-
are you already done plugging yourself, or?
I don't want to plug myself. All good. You already plugged me on your stream way too much anyway. So
Yeah, no.
Rivenous-
Go check out Rivenous. Go check out Kana Mtashed. I don't think you guys need me to tell you to go check him out, but go check him out too. And good times. They're gonna make a lot of great WutheringWaves content, so you don't want to miss it. And yeah, go subscribe. Thank you guys for joining.
yes, thank you for hosting this.
Rivenous got loads of. Dude, I've actually, in prep for the stream, I swear I watched through like a bunch of videos. Every single video I watched was, and thank you to Rivenous for the spreadsheet, and thank you to Rivenous for the, and according to Rivenous, and
Oh my
actually,
goodness.
this one streamer named Rivenous, I was like, am I just getting the same take 10 times across 7 different videos? Like,
I mean,
what's going on here?
People just
It's
take
great,
my
you know?
sheets and repeat what it says on there.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I think I'm also done streaming now, unless here we can check out one more thing before we go. We will admire Ben